here at the Englewood Chamber, and our broadcast today is live. And we have several guests that we're going to be talking with here at the Chamber. And all of these people are at what's called a pop-up station for the Giving Challenge. And again, that has been orchestrated and coordinated by the Englewood Chamber. And our first guest up today is Ron Zaleski from The Long Walk Home. And so Ron's going to talk with us about the mission of the nonprofit. We'll talk about how it started. He'll tell us a story or two. And this is our 3-hour segment, getting to know all the different nonprofits who are participating in the pop-up station here in Englewood, Florida. So thanks to all of our listeners for being with us today. Ron, thank you for being a part of this pop-up station.
Well, thank you for having me. And after looking at this screen, I used to think I had a face for radio, but now I know I don't.
Well, we all have a face for radio. The question is whether or not we have a face for the visual part of it, right?
Yeah.
Radio is certainly different than it used to be. But Ron, we want to know more about the Long Walk Home. And so I'm sure our listeners and our audience is saying, what the heck is the Long Walk Home? So why don't you give us an overview about that?
Okay. I'm a Marine who developed a mentorship program. Why it's called the Long Walk Home is I was an angry Vietnam vet for 33 years that didn't wear shoes. And then I walked the Appalachian Trail barefoot. And then I walked across the country barefoot.
Oh my.
Yeah, and I did that to create awareness. And then I did it to get a law passed in Washington. So it was my learning experience. I thought I knew everything. I was clueless as to how politics work.
So let me just ask, you said you were doing it to sort of demonstrate a point. What is it that you wanted people to understand by you're doing all this barefoot walking?
I wanted them to understand why, to create awareness for the suicide.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, can you hear me, Joanne?
I can.
Okay, you guys are live. It looks like Rick did take you live. We are live now on radio. You were just on social media during that time. Just continue what you're doing. And I have Jill Luke here with me. Yay! Yeah, Jill Luke, and she's city commissioner over here in, where are we?
Northport.
Where am I? But when I talk, Joanne, just so you know, we were getting feedback, and it's not on your end, it's on my end. So I have to mute everybody if I talk. So you just go ahead and continue what you're talking about and doing the interview, and Jill and I may pop in between. When you're doing your transitions, Jill and I will pop in. Okay?
Sounds good. Nice to meet you, Marina. Nice to meet you, Jill. Yeah. I am getting feedback now with the great system being there. So, okay. Fantastic. Thank you. There. Perfect. All right, Ron, we were talking about the meaning behind all this barefoot walking that you were doing. So if you can continue with that thought, that would be great. Whoops. And you know what, Ron? Somehow we have lost your audio.
Okay.
So, there you are. We've got you back. Okay, go ahead.
Before I was just moving my lips and not talking, I guess.
It was a good test to see if we were paying attention.
Yes,
Thank you.
You're doing a great job, Joanne.
As are you.
It was to create awareness for post-traumatic stress and the suicides, because I had realized after being angry for 33 years and being barefoot was my memorial for my friends that had died and suffered while I was in, but I didn't tell anybody. They would ask me, how come you don't wear shoes? And I'd say, I don't feel like it. You got a problem with that. So it was just me being angry and defiant.
Okay, all right. And so then you also mentioned some of the legislation in Washington. Go ahead, Ron.
So when I realized that I'm part of the problem, if all I do is blame everybody else, that was unacceptable. So then I worked to change that that's when I did my walk to create awareness, and I realized it wasn't enough after going to Washington, because awareness is no good unless you have a plan, and a plan is no good unless you get it instituted. So my second walk, when I walked across the country, I had a petition that I brought to Washington to get mandatory counseling for everybody. But that was like I was talking to the toilet bowl in the men's room. It didn't,
Oh.
nothing came of it. And then I realized that I don't go tell somebody what to do. I do it, then ask them for help. And in Washington's case, I ask them for help, then give them the credit for it.
Ah.
So we opened up a shelter in the Keys to help homeless veterans. And what I discovered is 80% of the homeless were children of veterans because they're destroyed before they get out of the house.
Whoa, that's a huge percentage, Ron.
Yeah, that it was, and people don't realize it. They think we're just 7% of the population, they can live without us, but we impact the entire country. And then the organization has evolved because, we'd help people and we do things to help them out. But because of Corona, we developed a mentorship program. And that's been the most successful and the most impactful thing we've done, because it helps them shift their perception from being angry to being mindful, to healing their destroyed relationships and creating a mission. And when we did that, it impacted the entire family in a positive way. And I also learned when we had the shelter is I enabled a lot of people. I didn't help anybody, because when we closed, all the drunks loved me. And when I closed, they could care less. Because, because all I did was enable them to do what they did just easier.
Yes.
But when we instituted the mentorship program and had challenges that they had to take, then it was different, because we don't help somebody unless they take the first 4 challenges of our 10.
So, Ron, we've only got about 4 minutes left, just to kind of stay on the clock here a little bit. But what would, if you have some things that you're currently doing, what are you, here, this is a great picture. Thanks to Marie for putting that up here. Tell us a little bit about what you are doing to raise funds for the mission of the Long Walk Home.
Well, I wrote a book about my walks and my transformation. I was under this illusion if I wrote a book, I'd sell thousands of copies and be a famous author. No, I have to hawk that book like I am working 42nd Street. So we've been doing that, and it's created awareness and it's helped people. And the things we do, we write grants, we get donations, we sell the books, like I said, and we sell T-shirts. And we're working to do more events. Like we have a bicycle ride, which we get sponsors for. And
when is that coming up, Ron?
Is that November 11th? And it's
so toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. And so we're trying to figure out ways that we have a membership that people can join and become a member. And the biggest thing we do is our mentorship program. And that's where people really see what we do. Events are nice because we help people and get them involved. But the mentorship program is the biggest, most impactful thing we do.
Ron, what's your website address? What's your...
It's the longwalkhome.org.
Okay. So the longwalkhome.org, right?
Yeah, so they can contact me through there if they want to talk to me directly. And I at different events, like I've been speaking a lot at Rotary or any organization that'll have me. And, usually they get behind us and help us out with funding. I can't hear you. You went offline.
I'm muted. Can you do some shout outs on the donors that I have up on the screen right now? I'm going to go off, and I know Joanne will be bringing up her other guests, but do some shout outs if you look up on the screen.
Yeah. My eyes aren't the best. We have Kim Parks that's donated. We have Deb that donated. We have Terry. Oh, there you go. Auto repair, expert auto repair, Alana Kurt, Sorensen, Kim Conway, Kim Parks, Ronald Newhouse, Cody McKinley, Kenny DeCamp, Susan Trussell. So, we have, and I know almost all of these people personally.
Oh,
So
Ron, well, it is absolutely fantastic what you're doing. I'm so glad that you gave us an introduction to how the nonprofit got started with your barefoot walking. I mean, that is truly dedication for what you're doing with the nonprofit. And so please go to thelongwalkhome.org and give generously today, because with the Giving Challenge, we know that there are matches that occur with your donations. And then certainly look at doing the membership with the Long Walk Home.
Yep.
Any final comments in the last 30 seconds we have left here?
all our programs are free to veterans and families. And we also take them on events like Swimming with Dolphins or things like that. And those are free for veterans. And they're all beneficial.
Excellent. Thank you, Ron, so much for being a guest on our show today. And I believe we've got Mary Curtis coming up next. And I think she might be right behind you. If you turn around and look, or that might be Ruth Hill. So I'm going to, Marie, I'm going to go and make sure that Mary's set to go. And I'll be right back. Is that okay?
Sure. If you're talking.
I'm muting everybody in the background. One of the things too, I'm gonna correct something, Joanne. They have to go to the givingchallenge.org. I can walk them through and to donate, because that's where they get the matching money. They have to do it through that website. Find the nonprofit that you're donating to, and up to $100, and you can give to any, your whole family can give under each name, and they'll do a match for it. And it's the Patterson Foundation, the Community Foundation of Sarasota, along with the Manatee Foundation, Community Foundation, Charlotte Community Foundation, also the William G. and Marie Selby Foundation. I'll put this on together along with media partners. So, Joanne, as you're transitioning, I'm taking you off screen and I'm bringing up Jill Luke with me, and we're going to transition when she comes up with her next guest. So, Jill Luke?
Now, I mean, with what you said, it's emotional to me to know all of these foundations and the philanthropy that does this. I mean, Giving Challenge it speaks to our hearts, and all the nonprofits that we want to support, there's a personal usually reason that we want to support them. But these foundations are doubling that. They're giving more, and they're caring about what we care about. And to me, that's just it's emotionally overwhelming to know that people will put their money to where their heart is.
It's the Patterson Foundation that does the match, but all of them, it takes a lot of money to put a event like this together, and for you, the person out there that's listening, all of these nonprofits that we're bringing on today, and that if you go to the givingchallenge.org, have all been vetted. And what vetting means is you have to give them all your financials. They actually see that you're a legit 501c3. And Jill, as a city commissioner in that, well, as a person, you don't even have to be that. As a person, that you're careful, I'm careful. When I put that hard-earned money into somebody that an organization, I get funny feelings in my stomach sometimes when I do it, when I'm looking at something, and I don't part with my money that easy.
And it's a tried and true organization that I will support, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, well, as long as we're sitting here and waiting, and I think Joanne is ready. Are you ready, Joanne? Okay. We're going to bring her back up. And Joanne, you ready there to go? Okay. So I'm going to mute me.
Hey, how are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We have Mary from, let me see here, I apologize. We have Mary Curtis with us today from Ears Animal Rescue. And Mary, we are excited to hear about your rescue mission that you're doing with the animals. And we're really anxious to hear about some of the current things that you have going on. What are some of the future things you have coming up? So why don't you start and give us kind of a brief overview about what you're doing at Ears, and then we'll take it from there.
Great. Thank you. Well, Ears Animal Rescue, we're a dog and cat rescue. All of our cats are located at our adoption center at 500 North Indiana Ave. We also have a wonderful pet store there that really helps bring in much needed income too, to help support and help all these animals. All of our dogs are in loving foster homes. We do make sure that all of our animals are spayed, neutered, up to date on all their vaccines, any health issues that need to be addressed. Like we currently have 2 of our dogs that were heartworm positive. So this is a 7-month process to get them healthy. God bless our wonderful foster who will be taking care of them for the next 7 months. But it's events like this, the Giving Challenge. This is where the finance that we really need to help with all of the pets and get them, medically taken care of so that they're ready to find their forever home.
Well, and we do so appreciate all of the donors who are contributing to the Giving Challenge this year. And I do want you to note on the bottom of the screen here, we've got that scrolling ticker tape, if you will, that does talk about going to the going to givingchallenge.org and then picking each person's favorite nonprofit to contribute to. And so in this 15 minutes, we are hoping that they pick the Animal Rescue Ears in order to give you those contributions. Tell us a little bit about that fundraising and what are some of the current events that you may have coming up and what's coming down the pike?
Well, as far as COVID really made a big change for us trying to hold big public event like it did for everybody. Why we're so grateful for the online fundraisers and also putting together a big event, hoping to bring in the much needed funds. It costs money, time, takes a lot of volunteers. We are a volunteer-based organization. We are very blessed to have at our pet adoption center, our pet store, and also our thrift store. Incredible volunteers who show up every day. Sometimes putting together a larger event to bring in more of the funds is kind of hard to do. We do have a lot of little stuff. Like May 7th, we have Painting with a Twist in Port Charlotte. So that's going to be a fun event. That is from 5 to 7 on Saturday. So doing a lot of just little fun events. We're very blessed to have different organizations in the community put on a 5K and different type of events like that. So the only thing that we have coming up right now would be May 7th, Painting with a Twist. And that is just...
I'm sorry. When you're talking about that, it sounds to me like you partner with other nonprofits for participating in some of these kinds of things, like Painting with a Twist. Are you partnering with another nonprofit on that, like an art center?
Well, is actually Painting with a Twist is a painting studio. It's where, a fun girls' night out or a fun family thing. And they have the picture. I think there's one, it's alley cats, and the other one is a sunset scene. And you just get together. They make artists out of us with the 2 hours. So a large portion of that is donated to the rescue, money that comes in that night. So it's local businesses coming to us, say, we want to hold our event. We want to raise money for you. So it's in that community effort of local businesses helping us to raise the much needed funds.
Oh my gosh, that just sounds like a great thing to be doing. Now here, Marie has brought up a picture of the Englewood Animal Rescue Sanctuary. Do you want to talk about the picture for a moment?
Well, I do want to talk about the picture because we tried several times to actually change it. This was our old location on Dearborn Street that we were at for years. That location was actually sold. That moved us to 500 North Indiana Ave, which is we're in between Babe's Hardware and the storage. So we're right in that strip mall. We're actually right at the front with that. I don't know what happened. We tried several times to get our picture changed on with the Give Gab and the community challenge. It changed, but then it didn't. So
Oh.
that's our old location.
The picture's there in perpetuity. We got to get that.
It's still cute. It still says yours, but it is our old location.
But
So,
what a great opportunity for you to talk about the new location. Now, I see that Marie is kind of scrolling down through here about your mission and how you get your funding. Would you like to comment on any of that right now?
yeah, we're not federally or state funded, so everything comes through the wonderful community and helping us do what we do. So we look at events like this and just donations coming in from individuals to be able to continue to serve the pets in need. The thrift store is also, that is our regular source of income. That is actually on the move also. We found out that our thrift store building is being sold. So we're on the move with that. But thankfully, we found a new location. We're at 353 Dearborn Street currently. We hated to leave Dearborn Street, couldn't find anything in our budget, but we are just around the corner. We're moving to 280 South McCall Street. So that will happen the end of May. So we're excited about that because the thrift store really helps bring in a regular stream of income that we so need.
So Mary, you've got some recent donors on the screen here. Would you like to give some shout outs to some of the donors who have already generously given today?
We want to give a shout out to everybody. Every penny helps, but there's so many. And even some I see are anonymous, but it's all the people. And there's a lot of people that, whether there are volunteers or they're just people that just constantly on a yearly basis. I see Bob and Amy, just people that are always giving. And we just appreciate it. And a lot of people too, it's people that have adopted pets from us. So they really understand and they know what we do. They're grateful they got their forever furry friends. So they want to make sure that we keep saving more pets. So a lot of them these are people that have adopted pets from us.
Look at what Lorraine said here. Can you see that? Do you want to read that for our audience here?
I am so grateful for all of you and having found Sashi, his forever home. You are so wonderful, and I enjoy the time I come by briefly to see the volunteers. Bless you for the incredible job and service. We do have a lot of people in the community come and they spend time with the cats and they just want to see, what's going on. So we love being a part of the Englewood community. It's wonderful.
How do you attract your volunteers? If somebody is watching this or listening to it today and they go, I want to be a volunteer, what should they do?
Come on down and because there's a lot of different things that you can do. Not everybody is able to foster animals, and I understand that because again, all of our dogs are in foster homes. So we desperately are always, the more fosters we have, the more lives we save. But there's so many other things you can do. You can work in our thrift store. You can work in our pet store. We need our cat caregivers. These wonderful people are there at the crack of dawn, and they are making sure that the cat room is all clean, the litter boxes are all clean, everything, all the laundry is done, all the cats are fed. When we do have events, people that want to, go to tabletop events, kind of like what we're doing today, and be able a representative for ears, but going down to our adoption center, filling out an application, speaking to one of the volunteers or our manager, and just kind of seeing, what gifts or talents that they want to share with the rescue. We're always looking for more people to come in and help out because it takes a village, as they say.
Well, that is really true. And I'll just point out one more time at the ticker going around down along the bottom of the screen there, that in order to give to ears, people do want to go to the givingchallenge.org, and then they'll find your name on the list. They'll pick it and they'll give you different donations. We saw
there
one
we
donation.
are. Oh, perfect. They're showing that.
Yes.
Because we do our full name is Englewood Animal Rescue Sanctuary. And then our nickname is
Okay.
Ears. So we always want to make sure, because it is listed on their website as the Englewood Animal Rescue.
That is a great differentiator for us. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
so they're
that,
not trying to
Mary.
find it and can't find us.
Right. And we want to make sure that those donations come in. I don't know if you noticed it. I saw one generous donor had $500 that they gave to you today. We can make that the goal for what people can shoot for future donations for the rest of the day. How's that?
That would be great.
Get a
That
few
would
more
be
of those
great.
$500 donations. Not that I'm taking away from the $25 donations, because everyone is important.
Every dollar counts. And with the 25, it actually becomes 50. And with the Giving Challenge, and we're so grateful to the Community Foundation of Sarasota and the Patterson Foundation. Every 2 years they do this. And it's incredible the amount of money that they help in all, the local communities. And they match per donation from $25 to $100. They match 100% of that. So makes
Well, Mary, you have been a great representative for ears today. And so I'm going to come out and double check and make sure our next guest is up. And Marie and Jill Luke are going to come on and say a few words while I'm doing that. Thank you for being here today, Mary.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, Jill, we are going to be bringing up CJ Metcalf from the Military Heritage Museum. Hi, CJ, and I'm going to have to mute myself while...
Oh, now I can't hear you.
Hey, how's it going? We're getting back feed, not from you, it's from my end because I'm streaming live on the radio. So they've been getting back feed, so I have to mute myself whenever, or mute other people because it comes out of everybody else's. How's it going for you down there? And tell me what's going on.
Oh my goodness. You would not believe the people and the pop-ups that we've got here at the Military Heritage Museum. I would encourage all the listeners to come on down to the Military Heritage Museum, where we have 10 nonprofits. They've got tables set up where you can walk up and get information from each one of them, see if this is something you want to align yourself with. They have their computers right there, and if you want to donate to them, you can at that time. They're set up to do that. We've been interviewing them, and you can see some of those interviews on another page, Facebook page that I have, which is CJ Veteran Committee. You can see some of the interviews that I've done, but we've got the the wonderful conquistadors are here full blown with their miniature ship, and they've got a tent outside. The Patriot Riders are here. They've got motorcycles on display and their pop-up tent. And we've got a Corvette show going on. I don't know, there must be 28 or 30 Corvettes out there that are on display. Those cars are just beautiful. Many of them are the Indianapolis 500 pace cars. So that's kind of interesting to see. We've got the Peace River Wildlife. They came in and did a demonstration. They brought their wonderful animals in, owls and screech owls and barred owls and great horned owls, armadillos, possums. I mean, it was quite amazing to see all those things.
I want to be at your pop-up, CJ.
Yeah,
I want to be at your...
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like so much fun, and I know that, as if
Good
I can
job.
do that because I'm doing this today. Hey, and your tech stuff is really working well, huh?
I am working on it. As many know, I'm kind of green behind the ears with this kind of thing, but the interviews are just amazing. The Charlotte Chorale, the singers, they're here. Porch, which is an organization that finds homes for people who are homeless. The Peace River Gardens are here. United Way is here. Of course, the Military Heritage Museum is here. And I want to mention real quick about the Military Heritage Museum. Yes, the Patterson Foundation is matching all donations today up to $100, and that means so much to all these nonprofits as far as raising money for their purpose. But the Military Heritage Museum, this beautiful place in Punta Gorda, one of a kind, is we survived COVID, but we don't get funding from anywhere other than through donations. And today, if you donate $100 to the Military Heritage Museum, the Patterson Foundation matches it. So now that's $200. And then we have a private donor who's going to match that. So your $100 turns into a $400 donation for the museum. So it's very, very special for the museum to carry on and to get donations so that we can continue having the summer camp programs, the history camp programs, all these youth programs that are educational and valuable. We're popping in and out.
Well, the reason I have to mute you, and we have Joanne Kaminsky from the Englewood one down below, but pop in whenever you can there, and we'll get you on here, CJ. And I love you, girl, and I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Great job.
Great job.
Great
yeah,
job.
Well, just
Thank
loving
you.
what you guys
Thank
are
you.
doing. Now, Jill, we're going to bring up Joanne again, and Joanne will have you guys muted as you guys are coming up. I think you,
I have got to get to the
Yeah.
office. I've got meetings this afternoon and evening, so I'm going to have to hop out. But
Okay, well, thank you, Jill, for being here. This is City Commissioner Jill Luke, and actually she's here as a board member of the
Right.
Community Broadband Radio Association, better known as WKDW 97.5 Real Community Radio, coming out of Northport, Florida. Our pop-up event is at 6 p.m. tonight. Jill will be here as soon as they're done with their City Commissioner meeting, and Lord knows when that will be.
Should be all right. Joanne, thank you for what you're doing over there. Great job,
Absolutely.
as always. All right.
Thank you.
Blessings to everybody who donates, and your blessing is being doubled by Patterson. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, can't you just feel the excitement and the energy? And thanks to CJ for sharing how some of those donations can be 4 times bigger than the $100 donation that people are giving. Those opportunities are with different groups and different nonprofits. But right now, we're going to turn our attention to Kids' Needs of Greater Englewood. And we have Marcia Ziegler here to talk to us about that specific nonprofit. And so, Marcia, yes, tell us a little bit about the mission of the nonprofit. We'd like to know what kinds of exciting things you're doing right now and what's coming down in the future. So tell us about the Kids Needs of Greater Englewood.
Well, Kids Needs is a nonprofit organization here in Englewood that started back in 2009. Basically, back then, the group that got together was Chuck and Ann Deaver, Tom Digna, Marshall Loudon, a few of them. They wanted to make a difference in the children and families' lives. They saw a great need with the poverty that was in the area. There were several children and families that were living in cars and things like that. So they felt like if they could take some of the heat off of them financially, if they could help in some way, then they ought to. So Kids Needs was born 2009, and it continues on to this day. We're now in a storefront at 272 South Indiana Avenue. We have, we call it the Kids Needs Closet. We have gently used and brand new clothing, tennis shoes. We're open on Thursday evenings, and the families can come and shop and get what they want. We have toiletries, school supplies. We also opened it up the last few years. We've opened it up for homecoming and for what we call our prom boutique. We've had this wonderful donation of these beautiful gowns and suits and ties and slacks and tuxedos for the children. So we just wrapped up our prom boutique for Lemon Bay High School. And we had 16 or 17 students come, and for free, got gorgeous gowns, shoes, purses, tuxedos, whatever they needed. We had dress shoes that had been donated, and they just looked so great, and
Oh my
all at
God.
no charge. So we also we partner with several other nonprofits here in town. We help support the Englewood YMCA's summer camp program. We have about 75 children that we pay for 6 weeks of camp. So if mom and dad are working and school's out, there's a safe place for the children to go, and they can apply to kids' needs to be able to take part in that. And we help underwrite their camp for 6 weeks. Also, with Living Hope Church and Englewood YMCA, we also do the Back to School Bash. The Kids Needs provides all of the toiletries. We have a big shopping bag of toiletries that's handed out at the bash, and our closet is open so that the parents can come and they can pick out clothing and brand new tennis shoes and anything that they would need along those realms for the children to have a good start to the school year.
Well, it's just an array of different things that you're doing. I know when you were talking about the prom dresses, I think about giving these kids memories that will last a lifetime for them. Let me just ask, if I may, what has changed for you because of what we've gone through for the last 2 years here with COVID? Like, have the needs changed because of that? What have you seen that's different, or does it still tend to be pretty much the same?
There is a big need for children's clothing and shoes still. At Christmas time, we give out gift cards every year. We have about 300 families that we give gift cards to, and they can buy Christmas presents, and they can buy holiday food or just groceries, whatever they want with it. However, this year we ended up giving out it was close to $12,000 more than what we normally had in the past.
More.
So you can see
Okay.
that,
yes.
There's been an uptick, because when COVID hit, some parents they couldn't work.
Right.
And that paycheck fed their families and paid the rent. And without that paycheck, all that went away. So there was definitely an uptick in the need for these services.
Well, and so you're doing such good work here. And one of the things I do want to stress, down at the bottom, you see the scrolling information at the bottom of the screen there, because we want people to be going to the givingchallenge.org site and going to the Kids Needs of Greater Englewood specifically, in order for you to get your donated monies and then those matches that go along with it. Now, Marie is great about bringing up your site here with the Giving Challenge. There's a little bit about your story and your mission that is included on that page. But here's some recent donors. Do you want to give some shout outs there?
I actually can't read it. If you can read it, you go right ahead. We're so thrilled.
Oh my God. Well, here's what I will tell you. Now she's expanding it there. Yeah. So what about some of these donors that you're seeing here?
Yeah. And Englewood is just so generous. We have Roberta Ruxton, Brian Farrow. Oh, he's wonderful. Larissa Pisa, Eric Sanders, Mary Lou Fitzgerald, Elizabeth Harrison, Marilyn Witt, the Holleran family, Expert Tech Auto Repair, Mango Bisto, that's Marie, and Steve Lavasser. Great people. And I cannot tell you the generosity of this community. I get to see both sides of it, where we see those mamas and dads come in and have humbly get the clothing and the new tennis shoes for their children. And then this side of it, where the generous folks in our community help step up and help pay for those things, because there's no charge. Everything that we do is 100% free. We have a joke. We're all paid the same. Zero. Great bunch of volunteers. An awesome bunch of volunteers.
And that is true, really, when you're in that nonprofit world, to say the least. And one of the things I'd like to just mention with all of these lists that we're seeing is that I see lots and lots of chamber members' names on there.
Yes.
And so I do want to say thanks to the chamber and all that they're doing. in order to host the pop-up station here today, and then the members who are giving so generously, in addition to all the donors that are giving so generously. What a day. What a day, right?
It's very exciting because we get to see what happens on the other end. So we very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so let me see. I just want to verify. I want to go back around to this again here if I can, because do you have any special events coming up between now and the end of the year that you want to talk about?
Well, we had one major fundraiser this year. It was a golf tournament at Oyster Creek, and it was very successful, very supported, and we very much appreciate it. Back to School Bash is August 6th, of course. We participate there. It's at Sky Academy here in Englewood to make sure the kids have a good start to the new year. Englewood Chamber has named Kids Needs as one of their charities of choice for their next event, which is May 14th. Their leadership class is having, I think I'm going to say it right, Englewood Stock. It's kind of like a take on Woodstock.
Okay.
I know there's still tickets available for that, and they have generously picked us as one of the charities of choice. So yeah, we'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to them.
Excellent. Well, and I always love the collaboration of these different groups that come together, because I think it strengthens everybody when that happens. And so good. Lots of excitement going on. But today our focus is on the Giving Challenge. And so for the audience and the listeners, if you will please dial in to givingchallenge.org. Look up Kids Needs of Greater Englewood and give generously to this very worthy cause. That would be fantastic. So
thank you to the Patterson Foundation for doubling that money up to $100. That was very good of them too.
Well, and it is important for us to remember that, because that makes a huge impact. If somebody thinks they're giving $50 or $100 and it's actually $100 or $200, oh my gosh, it just goes so much further. So yes, very good. Okay, Marcia, we're going to do the transfer to the next guest here. Marie's going to take us off. And so thank you so very much for being a part of this today.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes.
Unmute yourself, Marie.
And they're hearing me on the radio. And Rick, I was asking you to come on with me right now because I wanted to talk while the transition's going on with Joanne, what she's doing in the background. And Rick, let's talk about the radio station while we have the opportunity to. Why did you get involved with the radio station? You're a volunteer. I mean, you do all the PSAs for the station.
Because you twisted my arm.
Well, that could possibly be true. I have to actually mute myself when you're talking.
When I worked at Tervis from 2010 to 2016, and right when I before I'm hearing myself all of a sudden. I can't do this. You contacted me saying they needed a volunteer to help with the PSAs, and I thought, well, why not? I'll give it a shot. And it turned out to work out okay. Since then, that was, like I say, 2016, late 2016, right? And since then, I've learned how to tech a few shows. I helped do the studio work for Chat with Pat. Did some work with you. Pat Petersmark and I do Out and About now, that comes on a couple times a week, I believe. And It's fun. Good people. A lot of fun. I've learned a lot of things, so I'm enjoying it. And I made a frog mask.
You did. And I'm going to mute you while I'm talking. One of the things, too, and I think Joanne is ready. Give me a thumbs up, Joanne. Yes, she is. So we're going to go off, but just remember today and tomorrow till noon, there's this Friday. Rick is a veteran, and he was able to do a free class at the Northport Arts Center as a veteran because they do have a scholarship program that they have. Anybody that's a veteran out there know that you can go to the Northport Arts Center and have a free class. Now, I'm bringing up Joanne and her next guest, and I'm going off, Joanne. It's all yours.
Yes, and Marie, here's what I need to ask you to do. If you'll change Kid Needs of Greater Englewood to Englewood Area Cancer Foundation. I'm not quite sure, maybe somebody typed that in on the last guest spot, because we have Erin Halstead with us right now from the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation. I'm thinking that Marcia may have typed that into a space provided there. And so I apologize for that, Erin, but you've got a very special guest with us here today. So let's start with introducing Beatrice.
Hi, this is Beatrice the Bulldog. She's an 11-week-old English Bulldog. She's recently come to live with me, and she loves people. So what we thought we would do today is bring a puppy. Let people hug a puppy, because cancer sucks and puppies don't. So if you want to come hug a puppy, please stop by and see us. We're accepting any donations. And if you don't have the ability to make a donation, we are still giving out free hugs.
And I absolutely love this. I have to tell you, I went out to get Erin and the puppy as our guest today, and I had not seen Beatrice. And the moment I saw her, my heart just melted, Erin. She is absolutely adorable. And so, yes, come out to the Englewood Chamber.
You see the resemblance? Does she look like her mom?
Well, she's probably even more beautiful than you are, Erin.
Yes, I'm sure she is.
Oh my God, she does melt your heart. I'm going to say, oh my goodness. So amazing, amazing. And so let's talk about the amazing work that you are doing at the Cancer Foundation there. And so tell us a little bit about your mission. Tell us about some of the good work that you're doing. We've got Irene there behind you. Hi, Irene. How are you? Live at the Englewood Chamber. And
she can't hear you.
I understand that. So, but yeah, give us a little bit about the Cancer Foundation and the good work that you're doing.
So the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation was started by two gentlemen and their spouses. And unfortunately, at this point in the time, those two gentlemen have passed away. Their wives are still with us. But they started it because they wanted money that was raised in the Englewood area to stay in the Englewood area and help people that are currently battling cancer with things that cancer or typical insurance wouldn't cover, like transportation back and forth to hotels, Moffitt. We do cover hotel stays if people have to go out of area for cancer treatment. So we cover things like that. It's not a whole lot of money, but it helps out when you're in a financial pinch and coming up with a cancer diagnosis and you're not sure how you're going to make ends meet.
How do people know about you? Because when you're saying that, you're fulfilling such a wonderful need. And so tell me how you get the word out about the services that you provide to the right populations.
Right now, it's very difficult. Before COVID, we had monthly meetings. We had different events that we would do in the community to promote what we do and to promote trying to get donations. But since COVID, we've had to back off. Most people that are immunocompromised still are not comfortable going into crowds. So we are having a tough time. Every single year, though, we do an annual turkey trot. Real Bikes of Englewood is one of our major sponsors for that. And we typically raise the majority of our funds each year with that turkey trot. And it happens at Andover Park off of San Casa every year, Thanksgiving morning. We start about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And usually people are done and out of there by 9. It's a nice way to start the day. meet family and friends, and get in a little exercise on a day that you plan on eating a lot.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I every Thanksgiving rolls around and I'm like, ooh, where can we go and volunteer for some sort of a kitchen? But this is an alternate idea that I absolutely love. And yes, the whole idea of sort of burning calories before eating calories is even better. So,
Yep.
oh my gosh, I hope that proves to be an excellent event for you this year.
Thank you.
Yes. And so if you think about what are some of your biggest needs right now, like if you were to ask for, we need donations, particularly today on Giving Tuesday or Giving Challenge, when those donations are going to be matched, what would be an ask for you right now in terms of what's going on at the Cancer Foundation?
The way we start out any interaction with any potential person that we're helping them out, we give them a $50 gas card. So if somebody could make a $50 donation, that gets the ball rolling. We get a $50 gas card to them, and then they start keeping track of their mileage from there on out. And things just go from there. We see what kind of needs we can help them with. And we work with the Cancer Resource Network, which is based out of Sarasota. So if people have needs that we can't fulfill, we have a pretty large referral system that we send them to, and we can get other needs met for them.
Well, and you can see Marie has put up on the screen here the information that you provided for Giving Challenge. And right there's that $50 gas card that, yes, if somebody could give that, it would actually be 2 gas cards, right, because of the match that's going on today. Now, I'm going to talk about the other 2 levels in just a moment, but let's remember that in order for them to get these matched donations down across the bottom there, you have to go to givingchallenge.org and then look up the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation in order for you to get that match. And so it's good. Thank you, Marie. She just put down the exact thing for people to look for on that website so that their donation goes to the right Cancer Foundation. You can see that you guys have already raised $525 with 6 donors today. So that is very exciting. And let's take a look. Do you want to give a shout out to a couple of these donors here?
Yeah, our very first donor were Steve and Lou Cook. They came into the Chamber of Commerce this morning. They own signs in one day off of Placida Road in San Casa. They were a big donor. Steve Lavasser with Lavasser Building, Expert Tech Auto, which is Kathleen Jaworski or Kathleen Callahan, depending on which name you know her. Tracy Beaker is Lou Long's daughter. Lou was one of our founding members, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Eric Sandness and Brian Farrow. Both Eric and Brian have been on the board of the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation and are longtime Englewood residents and understand what the needs are in the community and willing to help out.
Oh my gosh. And here's what I love about what you just did, Erin. You showed the personal touch with each and every one of these donors. These are not just strangers to you, but these are acquaintances and friends. And I think it speaks to that relationship that you certainly have with the donors who are contributing to the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation. Good for you. Good for you.
And that's our whole thing. We're local Englewood people trying to help Englewood people. That was their main goal when they started this, to keep the money local, to help the local people.
Well, and it has been said in other interviews today about the generosity of the Englewood community. And oh my gosh, I go to different areas within Southwest Florida, and I do concur that Englewood seems to have a huge generosity that really comes from the heart, is how it feels to me.
I think so too.
Yes,
great people.
Absolutely. And so just so everybody knows, your website, what is your website for the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation?
The EACF.org.
EACF.org.
It's the word the, T-H-E.
Oh, the.
EACF.org, yes.
Okay, thank you for that distinction. But you want to go to the givingchallenge.org today to get those matching donations in. So yes, thanks very much to the foundations that are doing that for us. And boy, what a generous day, a day of generosity we are experiencing right now. Any final comments? We've got just about another minute or so left here. Any final comments? Oh, where's Beatrice? Let's bring Beatrice back up.
She went down on the floor. Let me get her.
Oh, now as she's doing that, you can see behind her, you can see that we have tables set up in our community room here, and 11 different nonprofits are being represented today here at the Englewood Chamber. So yeah, what's Beatrice's final comments for us today?
Beatrice says if you can't get by to see her today, she understands people have busy lives, but you can continue to give online through noon tomorrow to get the donation match.
Erin, thank you for that reminder, because this is not just a one-day event. It's a 2-day event. And so let's max it out all the way to tomorrow. So Beatrice, thank you for that reminder. Erin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today. I will come out and get our next guest. And so if you want to turn the earbuds over to that individual, that'll be perfect. And Marie's going to come back on while I make that transition. Very good. Thank you so much, Erin, for being with us today. Marie, you're back.
You're doing such a wonderful job over there with all the Englewood nonprofits that are participating in this pop-up. In between your next guest, we will be bringing on the conquistadors from the Military Heritage Museum with our on-the-spot reporter, CJ Metcalf, who actually sits on the board of directors from the Military Heritage Museum. And it's going to be really exciting to see all the activity that's going on down there. She's going to try to get around. She wasn't in. I have 3 different stream links out there, and she was in the wrong one originally. So I've had that happen before, but that's okay. So as soon as your next guest comes on, I have to mute you while I'm talking, mute myself, because we get back feed. But one of the things is, Joanne, a lot of, and for our audience out there, you can go to givingchallenge.org, but tonight we do have a pop-up event, and I can bring up the information right up on the stream for people in a banner so you can see that. We have our Be the Giving Challenge pop-up event, Northport. It's right here at the radio station at Common Grounds Meeting Hall, which is part of the radio station, and Bishop West Real Estate in this plaza. It's called the Springs Plaza, 12735 to 12739 Tamiami Trail. Anyhow, it's a yellow building. It looks like even the Giving Challenge color that they use. And look for the Dank Ass food truck. It starts at 6 o'clock. We start streaming again at 6:30. And then at 7 p.m. inside Common Grounds is 6 different performers donating their time for the Giving Challenge and for the event for tonight, for all the nonprofits, and to just show support. And we want you to be the one to be here. And we will have, there'll be a bee that you can go meet and get your picture taken with. And we will have Quincy, who is a bee puppet, will be here this evening. So come out, you, and actually join us to be the one, and to be the one to actually see what is happening in your community and in the community of Northport and the surrounding areas. That's why here at the radio station, one of our mission statement is building community through open communication. And because we have the radio portion side of it, we like to give everybody the opportunity to be on air. And we're coming actually out of the Military Heritage Museum and over out of the Englewood Chamber right now, where Joanne Kaminsky, I see she's still getting people ready to get up on the screen. that we're giving all these nonprofits an opportunity to come on and to even be streaming out there on social media, because a lot of them do not know how to do that, and they don't have the they're not able to be on the radio for sure. So Joanne, I'm going to bring you up, and I'm going to be taking myself down.
We are going through a slew of different nonprofits here today, and I am excited to introduce our next nonprofit, which is the Englewood Community Coalition. And we have Kay Tavarak here. I probably just slaughtered your name there, Kay. So you can make that correction for me if you can. But Kay, welcome. We're happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Glad to be here with Englewood Community Coalition.
Yes, absolutely. And so, Kay, I know you are doing a ton of good work over at the coalition, but not everybody knows about the coalition. So can you kind of give us a brief overview of your mission and the good work that you're doing there?
Sure. We were officially organized in 2014, although the community was doing a lot of background work for us to really get organized. Our mission is a safe and healthy and drug-free Englewood, and our focus is on youth substance abuse.
And so those are pretty heavy topics when you talk about that. So tell me a little bit about the work that ensues and how are you dealing with that overarching mission?
Sure. Our primary funder actually is the Center for Disease Control, and they are helping us to address environmental issues in our community, which actually contribute to youth substance abuse. Certainly, we do activities with the youth in our community, both through the schools, an activity that we do, Fun Night Done Right, once a month with middle school kids, and our drug-free youth program. But a lot of it that is about changing things in the community that actually contribute to youth substance abuse. For instance, maybe parents hosting parties at their house, or signs along the road that are advertising substances. The things that kids see and hear every day that influence them.
Well, and I think it's fascinating to think about these environmental influences, because it's so easy for us as adults to go about our days and not really take notice of those kinds of things. But when we recognize what it's doing to the kids, then we can make conscious decisions to change here. Now, you know, Marie's, right here. She's got your site up for the Giving Challenge, and look at your recent donors. Do you want to give a shout out to any of these donors that you see here?
I'll be honest with you, I have very poor vision and I can't see all of them. I see some of the folks in our community, one in particular, Reverend Dr. Brian Arman, who is the pastor of the Faith Lutheran Church in Englewood, who was actually with our coalition from the very beginning. And actually graduated from the National Academy sponsored by the Drug-Free Communities Federal Program. So he's still on board, and I'm glad to see he donated as well.
Well, how nice. And Kay, I see your name is up there as well, too. So thank you for that. That $75 turns into $150. And so it certainly makes a difference in terms of the good work that you are doing there. Now, tell us a little bit about some of the events that you've had previously, or some of the events that may be coming up. Give us an idea of the types of things that you're doing I know you've got a lot of different programs and whatnot for the kids. Do you have fundraisers and things like that you're doing?
We primarily, I'll tell you, in the last month, it was a busy month. One of the things that we did was our DeFi at the beach. We're a drug-free youth program. We were at the beach pavilion for the whole week of spring break, giving out incentive items, beach bags, and those kinds of things to our DeFi youth members that came by, but also just being a presence on the beach and letting folks know that we here in Englewood expect our beaches to be drug-free. especially when we're having a lot of visitors to the area. And it's a beautiful beach, and it was a very peaceful beach compared to what we've seen in other communities. So the volunteers actually agreed to be out there. We had a big umbrella, and we're able to do that. Then also, again, it sounded like it was Beach Month, but we did in collaboration with Keep Charlotte Beautiful and the Waverly, our tobacco-focused beach cleanup. We had over 100 volunteers, many of whom were SWAT members, which is Students Working Against Tobacco. And those kids went out, and we picked up 7,500 cigarette butts at
Oh
the
my
Englewood
gosh.
Beach area, and we measured them, and it really brought awareness to the issue of the environment on our Englewood Beach. And again, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, what kids see and what kids hear absolutely influences their behaviors, and that's what we like to do. And we also did a giveaway at our local Ann Chuck Deaver Park of Narcan, which is a medical inhaler that helps people who have overdosed on opioids, and it saves lives.
Yes.
And we did that in collaboration with Charlotte Behavioral. So we're out in the community trying to keep it safe and clean and healthy and drug free.
Well, and because you're a coalition, I do recognize that sometimes your funding is different than nonprofits who have to do their own fundraising, because if I'm not mistaken, you have different grants and government entities that help to support the work that you're doing. Am I correct about that, Kay?
Right. Our primary funder is the Center for Disease Control. And
You said that, yes.
Secondary funder would be Tobacco Free Florida. And we really, those are our grants to help us get going in the community. We have to have community match. And
okay.
So for every dollar that we get from them, we have to come up with $1 from our community. And so events like the Giving Challenge and the activities that we do throughout the year are vital, or we wouldn't be able to get that grant funding.
Okay, and I think that's an important distinction to make in terms of what your needs are that way. So I think that's wonderful. Marie, I see that.
Yeah, I'm popping in here, and I'm going to mute you guys so we don't get back feed. I have the military heritage coming in with the conquistadors right now. So we'll be bringing them up, and that while you're doing your transition right now, I'm taking a few minutes from you so we can bring in the conquistadors. I'd love to have the Englewood Community Coalition on one of our shows, so we can do a full-blown interview with you guys. I don't want to cut anybody short, but we're able to do that, and we stream on social media too, so it'll give everybody the advantage of being able to do that.
Hey, what an opportunity. Make sure you follow that up, and we will go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being a part of this today.
Our pleasure.
Yes, and I will go get our next guest, and Marie's going to bring up the conquistadors. So thanks,
everybody.
Thank you.
Hello from the Military Heritage Museum. How is everybody? Come on down. You need to come down to the Military Heritage Museum today until 6 o'clock. We're going to be here with all of the different organizations that are vying for your donation. And I just happen to be sitting with the amazing, I need to say this right, the Royal Order of Ponce de Leon Conquistadors. And they are here. They've got, I don't know if you can see it or not, they've got their little mini ship here. And then sitting here in full garb is Mo and Phil, who is the president of the Conquistadors. And Chris is sitting back there in the background. Now, Mo, you were talking, I'd like for you to just tell the people about the Conquistadors and what your mission is. We've got a couple of minutes here where we can do that.
Well, thank you very much. are honored to be here at the museum today for a phenomenal opportunity. So, uh,
CJ, we're having problems with hearing the sound. Can you get the mic or the camera a little bit closer to him, and then that way we can hear it a little bit better.
Okay, keep going.
well, this afternoon, okay, we're here, okay, to both be present to support and promote the Military Heritage Museum. We are obviously the first military group historically that celebrates the Spanish influence in La Florida from 1513 when Ponce de Leon okay, came to the shores of Charlotte Harbor and Burnt Store. And we reenact and remember the Spanish influence with scholarships, with the opportunity, okay, to present ourselves in parades and functions that bring the history alive to both the students, to the parades, to the openings of stores. Our mission here is to achieve, okay, the significance that the Spanish conquistadors, in a good way, uh, gave us so many opportunities here uh, from the 1500s.
And you work off of donations as well, correct? I mean, in order to support the scholarships and things that you all are so good at sharing with the community, um, you do this through fundraising and donations. So people, need to donate, right? When they see you around, throw your money.
We appreciate it, and certainly we use it in the best way possible. This year, we have Lemon Bay High School, Charlotte High School, and Port Charlotte High School. All are vying for our scholarship, which we give one scholarship to each school. And yes, fundraising is very important. Today, fundraising, okay, for the entire community of nonprofits is a big step in the Charlotte County area to come out, matching funds, okay, double the reason to be here. And in the museum's case, times two again, 4 times what the donation is today will be received, okay, for the individual 501c3s, which we are, our foundation is what?
That is a true statement. Donations to the Military Heritage Museum today, a $100 donation turns in
CJ, we're having problems with your mic, with the sound and stuff. And she goes, I always do, but with mine, we get back feed if I have her on. We'll be bringing up the other people from the Englewood area chamber right now. Joanne Kaminsky will be bringing her in. CJ will catch you. The next time with your next guest. I know she does that, and I'll talk to you in a minute. Okay. Okay. She's making faces at me. Joanne, you're back up on and with your next guest.
Actually have two guests coming on, and these are two wonderful women from the GFWC Rotunda West Women's Club, and we have Catherine Gallagher, who is the president of the nonprofit, and then her first vice president, Gwen Grace. Ladies, welcome. We're thrilled to have you today.
We love being here.
Absolutely. And so what I had said is that Gwen and Catherine may share their earbuds, but Gwen, I see that you've got the earbuds, yes, in your ear.
Catherine's going to prompt me as we go along because they weren't working for her. So
Aha.
It's my
Okay. I
voice and
understand.
Catherine in telling me.
Right. Catherine had some notes that she prepared for today. So, you know what? I'd like you to share with our listeners and with our audience today just exactly what the Rotunda West Women's Club is all about, because I think it's a hidden gem in Englewood, is what it is.
You're absolutely right, Joanne. The GFWC Rotunda West Women's Club is a service organization where community service meets friendship. And it's part of a larger organization. GFWC is an international organization. We even have a sister club in the Ukraine, all over the
Oh.
world. We started in 1890, so we're a lot even older than the Daughters of the American Revolution. So, and older than the Girl Scouts. GFWC was Rotunda West started in 1974. So we will have our 50th anniversary in 2 more years.
Oh.
So that's going to be exciting. So 48 years ago this week, we started. Our organization is a lot of Rotunda West Association members, but we also have members from all over Englewood and South Gulf Cove, and so we take members in from all over. We have right now 140 members, women.
Excellent.
And we have some men that are boosters that go out into the community and they do volunteer work. They raise funds so that we can provide scholarships for kids at Lemon Bay High School, also continuing education scholarships for women that are going back into the workforce or need to finish up some sort of, go back and then want to finish up their degree or whatever.
Gwen, I know you all just hit this exciting benchmark. I want to say it's of $100,000. Am I right about that? Am I?
Oh yeah, over the
It's
time.
been over a
we have
period of time.
Yeah, over the time we have.
So can you speak to that for a moment?
We usually, I'm not sure exactly because Catherine was our treasurer for a long time, so she knows a lot more of that than I do. We usually give out, I would say, probably close to 5,000 or 6,000 a year in scholarships.
It's actually 9,000.
9,000. I was close.
Okay.
We just finished $110,000.
Yes,
Over
total.
Yeah.
I mean, what an impact. I think that's just a tremendous impact for what you all are doing there. And so kudos to I want to include those letters on there because they are important. The GFWC, Rotunda West Women's Club. It's important to include that. Oh, and look, Marie has brought up your page for the giving challenge here. And so you can see the beautiful picture there. And these are some of the details that are associated with the Women's Club and a little bit about your story there. And so, Gwen, what else would you like to add about some of you are very good at collaborative work is what you're very good at. So talk about the collaboration that you do with all these different groups around Englewood.
We've been working with not only the Rotary, I believe was one of them.
And we're going to do blood drives with the Rotary, and also the Lions Club has been very generous to us.
Right. CCT over in South Gulf Cove, we've partnered with them for their Furry Scurry, which last year raised $16,000 for animals. We give a lot of money to a lot of the organizations, charitable organizations. We do a lot of food drives. We put a lot of our members into volunteer positions in Helping Hands or Jubilee Center or the library, or there's so many different areas that women can participate in. So whether it is we have groups that do sewing, we have groups that do knitting. They make fidget sleeves for the Alzheimer's patients. We did a big Alzheimer's walk last year, pairing with big. It was big for us. It was, in fact, it was the best in all of Charlotte County. We raised the most money of anybody in Charlotte County. We raised
Oh
over
my
$8,000, and it was the first time we did it. And we partnered with the Rotunda West Association, who let us use their park, their community park, and we raised great money for that one morning event. And we'll do it again this year, and hopefully we'll raise more. Because
Well, and one
is
of the
really
things that I do want to say about your club, your women's club, is that I think you have a wonderful leadership team that really knows how to use their volunteers. Yes, there we go. You two are part of that leadership team, but you have people who know how to really manage your volunteer force and maximize their capabilities. I know in talking with you, I've been just totally impressed with the way that you really distribute the volunteers to really multiply the impact of the work that you're doing. Do you anything more you want to say about that? Because I'm quite impressed with how you've explained that to me.
Well, thank you. I think we're doing a good job. We could always do better, and I think we will as we get further into how we want to run this and lead it. It's just not a group of ladies that go to lunch.
Thank you.
Right. Yes. Yes, that's absolutely true. Now,
but they do things like that. We do some fun things with them. We go to Chihuly to look at art, Van Gogh, to look at the Van Gogh immersion. So those opportunities are there for the women too.
Well,
so
I
it's
like
just
the way
not all work.
I like the way you described it. It's about community service and friendship. I think that's what you said in the opening segment. Let's look at some of the donors here that you guys have had today. I don't know if Marie can blow that up a little bit further, if you guys are having a hard time reading it, but let's give some shout outs to some of these donors that have been contributing here for the Giving Challenge, which of course, that $100 donation is now $200. And so that's very exciting to know that those donations are matched. Any shout outs here for who you see on the list?
Let's see. I'm looking at, I know Joanne House was on there. And we also had, I can't read it. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of them here. So
Rochelle Adler's one of them.
Oh, Rochelle Adler's on
John
there.
Cravy's one.
Yeah. Good.
Gwen Grace.
Gwen Grace, yeah. I'm there. Hey, look, if you don't walk the walk, you don't even do it. So
hey, one of the things. Oh, that's good too. Here, I want to mention Kathleen at Expertech Auto Repair, because I feel like they are supporting every nonprofit that we have here in Englewood at the pop-up station, because she has been on every one of these that we've looked at so far. And so I'm going to give a shout out to Kathleen over at Expertech Auto Repair, who I also know that they just received a national award for the quality of auto services that they provide to the community of Englewood. So go Kathleen. Yes, I think that's great.
That's wonderful that they support us and all these wonderful groups here.
Well, and I do want to mention down at the bottom there, you see the scrolling information, and it is about going to givingchallenge.org in order for people to give you the donations, which will be matched by the foundations. And so make sure that they look up the GFWC Rotunda West Women's Club, so that you guys get the credit you deserve for all the things that you're doing. And so we're down to about the last couple of minutes for our conversation here today. Think about the things that are coming down the pike and give me the ask. Like, if you were to ask for funding, where do you see some of these matching funds going for some of the projects that you have going on right now?
Oh, I don't.
What's coming up?
Yeah, the things that the walk to remember. Well, those are things that are coming up. We're not getting. That's not going to need any funds. But where we'd like to put our funds is in more of the
outreach, and we have a brand new program with Guardian Ad Litem that we want to continue to support. We just rolled it out, and we're actually in partnership now with Guardian Ad Litem at the 20th Circuit Court in Florida. So we need funding to keep making bed bags for children who come into foster care. It takes a lot of time and effort and product to put them together.
Well, and Catherine, I want. Oh, go ahead, Gwen. Yes.
Yeah, we do several fundraisers of our own during the year. One of them is coming up in the fall, and I'm hoping everybody can come over. And sponsors would be wonderful to have to help defray costs, so that more money that we can keep for us or to give out to the community instead of spending our own to do those things.
And yes, please, if somebody goes to your website and looks you up and they look at how you have your hands in all these different wonderful giving projects, I believe they will be quite impressed with what they see, because you might not be one single channel nonprofit, but you are touching the community in multiple ways, and it's very exciting to look at your website to see that information. What is that website address, Gwen? Do you know that off the top of your head?
GFWC Rotunda West Women's Club.org.
Okay, so exactly.
Women's,
yes, it's WOMAN apostrophe your S. Yes, there's not an apostrophe in the website address. So I want you guys to keep doing the wonderful work that you're doing. I love that you really are stressing your service that you provide to the community versus the lunch gals getting together. And I do hope that people will consider stepping up and volunteering for your organization, because there's a lot of personal and professional growth that they can get by participating with your organization.
It's a wonderful way to meet people, and it really is.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So thank you, Catherine and Gwen, for being dual guests today. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joanne. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, thank you, Joanne, for taking care of this. And Rick Johnstone, he's in the background. He's actually helping me teching and doing all the different things that are making this possible to happen today. Joanne, you're doing a wonderful job. And for our audience to know, think of this as a Jerry Lewis telethon or the Giving Challenge telethon, that you're able to actually donate. You're able to go and see on the website, and I'll show you how you can do that right now, how you can watch how much of an impact you are making into all these different organizations. If you look up on our screen right now, if you're watching on social media, so far today, and it's only 3:15, $3,350,000 for 661 organizations. There's been 17,352 donations already made. Rick, I'm bringing you up on the screen. What do you think about all this?
There across 661 different organizations. So there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are really doing well this year. At your pop-up tonight in Common Ground, starting at 7, from 7 till 9:30, they're going to have live entertainment. Clear the throat there. And I thought I'd just run down a couple of the musicians that are going to be playing. Panda Pete Schumann, he's a local artist, singer-songwriter, and a ukulele player. Champ, you remember a few weeks back, Champ was on the Ellen DeGeneres show playing his blues style guitar. He's a young man, and he's a local blues style singer songwriter.
That isn't the Champ. Sorry, not the right Champ. That's Champ Jax. No,
Get out of
here. Yeah, it's not the same guy. No.
I'll be darned.
Okay, just to correct you. Fool.
But Peg and Em are going to be there. Accomplished couple who reside locally, folk, Americana, and whimsical flavor. They appear locally as well as Will McLean festivals throughout Florida. Rome in Chicago and Rick St. Germain, the chances are good they'll be playing together. And Susan Lucas, a local jazz musician who appears locally in the Sarasota County area. So it's a great lineup of musicians. It's well worth coming on down to check it out.
Rick, you want to do some shout outs? And I think Joanne's ready to come on with Doug from over at the Chamber over in Englewood. But I wanted you to do some shout outs before we turn it back over to her, to all these donors. Now, start where it says Robert Malloy, that's RJ. And go north, go up instead of down. Okay.
We have Robert Malloy, who is RJ, Joe Barrera, $5 Kim G, Anonymous, Bud Buckley, Peter Imhoff. Excellent. We appreciate all these donations. Jill Luke, who was just in with you a little while ago. So that's excellent. Thank you so much for helping us out.
Yeah, we're very grateful for that. Now, we're going to bring Joanne up, and she has Doug Ezo. Hopefully I don't kill your name, Doug, from the Englewood Chamber, and they're going to talk about the Englewood Chamber and how they're hosting the pop-up in their building today over in the Englewood area.
Oh my gosh. What? I'm just waiting for her to change the audio a little bit. There we go. Oh my gosh, what an exciting day it's been here. Doug, we couldn't do it without the Englewood Chamber location. And I believe this is a first for the Chamber, if I'm not mistaken, hosting one of these Giving Challenge pop-ups. And so why don't we start by talking about that, and then we'll talk about the Englewood Chamber. Would that be okay with you?
That's perfect. Thanks for having me. And this was a great idea, great way to get the word out about not only the event, but these wonderful charities here today. So we're here at the Englewood Chamber of Commerce with 11 wonderful local charities to help bring awareness to Giving Tuesday and raise money for charity. So we're partnering with the Community Foundation of Sarasota County for the 2022 Giving Challenge by hosting a pop-up station. All donations ranging from $25 to $100 will be matched by the Patterson Foundation. So stop by the Englewood Chamber today, anytime between 12 and 6 p.m. tonight. You can learn more about the participating nonprofits.
Well, and I want to say that, and donate. That's absolutely right. And I do want to say that each of these nonprofits have wonderful tables that are set up here. You can come in, you can learn about them. They'll be happy to share with you about their mission and what they're doing to serve their populations. And so it's here in the community room at the Englewood Chamber. And I think everybody's just done a great job with displaying their information and having it for everybody to look at. And then I'll also mention, this is from a previous nonprofit guest that we had, which was with the Englewood Area Cancer Foundation, and they had their guest Beatrice the dog here. Have you seen Beatrice the dog today, Doug?
I did. I was like, they should charge money to hold the puppy, right? $5 a hold.
It's really true. So Doug, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing for your nonprofits here in Englewood. Tell us let's talk about the Chamber a little bit. So how long have you been with the Chamber, and what are some of the new things coming down the pike that are really being helpful to the business community of Englewood?
Well, I started here in January of 2001. No, just kidding. 21.
I was gonna say,
2021.
what?
Yeah, it's only been a little over a year, and but it feels like much longer. And but it's been all good things. If you go to englewoodchamber.com, you can click on member benefits, and you can see all the different things that we offer. I mean, obviously we do events such as this to connect people for networking, to get the name of your business out there. But we do so much more. We do a lot of advocacy work too, business assistance. You just provided a workshop for our nonprofits, actually, to help them learn how to better structure and run their organization. So, we do a lot of different things to help benefit the business community. I always tell people, if there's something that we're not doing, that you think we should be doing, let us know, because we're here to help for a very, very, very nominal fee. You can get a wide range of resources to help your business grow.
Well, and Doug, I want to give you kudos for the way the chamber operates and for all of your members, because I do get to do things for various chambers in the areas, and they all have their strengths. And so I'm not saying one is better than the other, but here's what I find with you, Doug. Oh, well, yeah, you would like me to say that, wouldn't you? But what I do want to say about you, Doug, is I think you are so open to ideas and doing innovative things that maybe haven't been done before. And because you're that way, you are a tremendous support to your entire membership. And it would be a really good reason for others to come and join the chamber, because I really do feel that you're all about serving the business community, the nonprofit communities, and you will go to the ends of the earth to make that happen. That's how I feel when I work with you, Doug. So thank you for that.
No, thank you. I mean, that's exactly what we're here for. I mean, just doing my job, but it's nice to hear. And we do a lot with charities too, nonprofits, as you can see here today. But we also have a leadership program, Leadership Englewood, and they are raising money for local charities as well. Their theme is kids, pets, and vets, and they're raising money for kids' needs of Greater Englewood, the Englewood Animal Rescue Sanctuary, and the Long Walk Home, which I'm sure you've either heard from today or will hear from. They're having an event May 14th at the Englewood Elks Lodge. It's called Woodstock. So it's Woodstock themed, and 100% of the proceeds are going to these local charities that I mentioned here. So again, you can find out more information about that by going to englewoodchamber.com, clicking on our calendar, and going to May 14th. It's a great, fun event that, like I said, 100% of the proceeds is going to charity.
Well, and when you mention the leadership group, I do feel that they have really been doing some wonderful things throughout the course of their leadership program. I think that might be coming to an end pretty soon here, but didn't they do like a bike marathon and different things like that, if I'm not mistaken, as well?
Yeah, so they've raised thousands of dollars for these local charities, and they do that through different events. One of them was a spin class. We have the Woodstock event coming up. There's a lot of different stuff, but it's a great opportunity. I mean, that's not the goal of the program, Leadership Englewood. Different things can happen every year. It's more about creating a legacy project. And we are actually accepting applications for the upcoming year for Leadership Englewood. So if you're interested, definitely contact the chamber. It's only 20 seats available, so it's a limited amount of space. So you definitely want to get your applications in now.
And Doug, remind me, because as you're saying about these different events, what is the signature event that the Englewood Chamber does every single year? Have you mentioned that yet? Forgive me.
Not yet, but our signature event every year is called Minnesota Mystique. It was out on Minnesota Beach previously, and then we moved it to more of a ranch style last year. It's called Boots and Bling, and it was a lot of fun. This year, the location is still under wraps. It's a surprise, so you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. But it's definitely a great event. It's our signature event, so everybody from the chamber, Englewood's Who's Who, is in attendance. And it's just a great time, great way to meet a lot of people in a shorter period of time.
Yes, well, and I do know that there's been lots of talk about the signature event, and so it's one of those not to be missed type of things. And so I don't know about others who are on here today, but it's really good if I put things on my calendar, because if they're not on my calendar, I close my eyes and I totally miss them. And so I want to reinforce what you're saying about go to the Englewood Chamber website and just peruse it and look at all the things that they have going on that serve not only their members, but the community as well. I think that's the important distinction there, particularly for our listeners and audience here today. What's that website address? Can you tell us that off the top of your head?
For
the chamber.
Englewoodchamber.com. And you can click on events. You can see the signature event is in November. I believe it's the first or second Saturday in November, but again, it'll be on our website. So save the date for that. Last year, like I said, it was a boots and bling type theme. So it was kind of rustic, outdoors with your boots, but you definitely was a dress up event as well. And we had axe throwing, we had acrobats, we had silent and live auctions, open bar, great food provided by Lighthouse Grill. It was just a really nice event, and we're going to look to top it this year. So
I love that. I love that. Well, and you have quite an amazing team that works for you here at the Chamber as well. Do you want to just give a little shout out to your team before we conclude here? We've got just about another minute or so. What would you like to say about your team before we conclude?
Yeah, we're
here?
small but mighty. And so it's myself and then Kim Parks. She is great. We make a great team as far as I'm a little more, rigid and taking care of the back of the house and operations, where she's more the fun, rah, really gets people going, which is something that I need help with. So we make a great team. And, we have Marcia Potts. She's our bookkeeper, does an amazing job. And our volunteers, I have too many to mention, but we really run on our volunteers. And if it wasn't for our volunteers, we wouldn't be here. So just shout out to our volunteers. April is Volunteer Appreciation Month. So if you see any of our volunteers around, be sure to thank them. They are listed on our website at englewoodchamber.com. So take a look. And I'm sure you know them all already, because like I said, they run the show.
Well, and I will just say, I was at a luncheon event last week where you did a very nice appreciation of all those volunteers. And I was duly impressed at the coordinated effort that you've put together for the people who come in and volunteer their services. So you're running a great operation here, Doug. Thank you for all the support that you do for the businesses, the nonprofits, and the entire community of Englewood. It's just been great having you on today.
Well, thanks for having me, and thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. All right, Doug, let's see. We've got to go to the next guest. And so Maria, I'm going to go round that up, and I will be back.
All right. Thank you so much, Joanne. And as I take her off screen, I'm back here alone. Rick Johnstone must have ran out of the room because I don't see him. But I'm going to do a shout out to some of the volunteers that actually I am grateful for at the radio station here. We're serial volunteers. None of us get paid. Jill Devery. She's in the next room and stuff, busy working, doing different things. RJ Malloy, the station manager, and I texted him while we were sitting around here while I'm teching things, and I said, the food truck's going to be here about 4:30 or 5, and other people, I have to rely on them to get everything set up. And he said, I went home to feed the dog. So, RJ, if you're listening to the radio right now, I got your message, and he'll be back to help with getting the food truck and everybody else set up outside. Now, I wanted to mention to you, what am I talking about? Because if you're just tuning in, this is Marie LaBrosse. I'm show host, and I sit on the board of directors and the fundraising chair for WKDW. Actually, it's that's a program of the Community Broadband Radio Association. So when you're looking for nonprofits to donate today, you can put in WKDW and we will pop up, but you'll see it as Community Broadband Radio Association. Because when we first started out, we were just broadband, and then in 2016 we became an FM station also. And we are an all-volunteer radio station here. And Rick Johnstone, are you back in? No, I don't think he's back under there. But I think Joanne is ready to go. Are you? Give me the thumbs up. Yes, she is. So I will bring Joanne up.
Hello, I am so excited to bring up our next nonprofit guest, and that is Paul Raker from the YMCA. And Paul, if I may, I was talking with Liz Nason,
Yes.
early on this morning, or when we were getting started today. And I had to relay to her my YMCA story. And so if you'll indulge me for just a moment here, I remember vividly when I was a young girl, the YMCA was down the street from our house, and I would go over there week after week taking my swimming lessons and really learned how to swim because of the YMCA. I love the water. I love swimming. And so thank you for what your organization does.
Thank you so much.
Well, and that's just one small example. Oh my gosh, our family used to go to the Friday night swims. There were 4 kids in the family and my mom and dad, and we'd all go down and do the Friday night swims at the YMCA. So it was really a family experience that I think was so valuable to me growing up. And so that's how I'll kick off your segment. I hope that was okay. And
Wonderful.
So tell us about all the things that you are doing at the YMCA. Tell us a little bit about, the mission, and then tell us how you're accomplishing that. I mean, that was a long time. That was a long time ago. So
Right.
Tell us where you are today. Okay.
So one of the things that I really love about meeting people and talking to them about the Y is that everybody has a story similar to yours. The Y touches a lot of lives in a lot of different ways. I also learned how to swim at the Y. I used to sneak into the Y as a teenager. And so when it came time for me to find a job when I was 17 years old, the Y is where I applied. And it's the only place I've worked since I was 17. So I share similar memories of learning how to swim and different things at the Y too. And I love hearing other people's stories. But you're right that the Y as an organization has something for everybody. And our mission is to help people strengthen their spirit, mind, and body. And so we have programs that really focus on the whole person from birth to career to retirement and beyond. And so that's one of the things that I love about working for the Y is that you can go there and you can learn how to swim. You can take a group exercise class. You can work out on your own, but you can also find community and meet people. And we have bridge clubs and different other social events, lunch and learns and things for seniors. And so there's just such a wide variety of programming at the Y. And that's what I think makes it a special organization.
Excellent. Well, and I love how you talked about body, mind, and spirit. Is that what you said, if I'm not mistaken? Because it is so true that you can make yourself physically fit, but if you're not mentally fit, there's going to be a gap. And likewise, if you're not spiritually fit, there will be a gap. And so the more you can fulfill all of those, the more the holistic, I guess I'll say it's the more holistic the experience is at the YMCA. What kinds of events or things do you have coming up right now that might be of interest to our listeners and our audience?
Well, 2 of the really big things that we have coming up soon. One is on May the 7th. It's Healthy Community Day. We'll be celebrating that at all of our branches, the Englewood YMCA included. That's a free open house day for the community to come in, and really it allows us to showcase each department in our YMCA. So wellness, youth development, aquatics, membership, all of those departments will have different demonstrations. There'll be tours available, different experiences, so that folks who may not have tried the Y before or are interested in joining can come in. It's a free day for the whole family, and that's from 9 to 12 on May the 7th.
We're
Okay.
offering programming year round, but one of the big things that we have coming up is summer camp. And so we're offering that at all of our locations as well, Englewood included. And so if you're looking for a place for your kids to go this summer, the YMCA is definitely the place to be. We have specialty camps, sports camps, traditional camps. So a number of options available for parents to sign up their kids to. So those are two of the big things that are coming up in the coming months for our YMCA.
Well, and as you mentioned that, Paul, where my head goes, thinking about the summer camps and things, I would bet that you were more limited in being able to offer those things over the last few years because of the COVID situation. Am I correct about that?
Absolutely. We were limited in terms of capacity and the programs that we could offer. And so things in the last probably 6 months or so have opened up a lot more. We're able to expand capacity in our camps with some restrictions being lifted. And so we're really excited to be able to offer sort of the experience as in terms of what we're used to as YMCA staff and what the kids are used to in terms of that camp experience. So we're really excited to be able to
Oh,
offer that.
I think it just excites me to think of the significance of it because it really is significant for the community. Now, we're talking a fair amount about the Englewood area because, of course, that's where we are. But I also noted, I think I read it on the website, about how the Englewood community was a strong YMCA, and you actually expanded into these other areas because of the strength of how you operated the YMCA. Am I correct about that? What can
Right.
you speak to that?
Yeah, we are a growing YMCA association. And so the Englewood YMCA is part of the YMCA of Southwest Florida. We were formerly the Sky Family YMCA. And so our territory goes from Bradenton in the north to Bonita Springs in the south. And we've recently acquired and merged with the two Ys in Manatee County, which are Lakewood Ranch and Bradenton, and have also taken the territory in Sarasota and plan to expand programming there too. So our association, Englewood is part of an association of YMCAs that's definitely growing with a large geographic footprint and also expanding programming into some other areas as well. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, it is so exciting. I don't know if you have the demographics on that, like with membership count and program count, but let me just ask you this, because we're here today because of the Giving Challenge. And so certainly we want you to be able to take advantage of that. Down at the bottom of our screen here, you can see there's a scrolling informational bar, and we want people to go to givingchallenge.org and pick the YMCA. In fact, I probably need to be specific about that, the Englewood YMCA, to give their donations. Tell me how are you going to utilize funding that's coming in right now? What are some of the important things that funding will go to for those who are contributing?
So part of the promise that we make to our members and potential members, along with our mission, is not to turn anyone away due to an inability to pay for membership or programming. And the way that we're able to deliver on that is through events like this and raising money over the course of the year. So in 2021, our association as a whole gave away over $1 million in scholarships for folks to participate in programs and membership. And that represents real dollars that we raise in the community through things like the Giving Challenge, our special events, both at Englewood and our other branches. And so that's why those dollars are so important. And they go towards summer camp, swim lessons, membership for adults, families, seniors, so that we're able to offer our programs for everyone, regardless of their ability to pay for it.
Paul, I'm sorry, that's just breathtaking when you say that is the amount that you have given to others. I think that's absolutely amazing. So, wow, I just want to go, wow, I don't even know where to go from that statement. So how many, I think about your staff, because you've got your leaders of the organization and the staff and the volunteers. So talk to me about the people that make all of this happen.
Right. We're very much still a volunteer-led organization. All of our branches are governed locally by volunteer boards, and those are people who really
give of their time, talent, and treasure to invest in the Y and become leaders. And then we do have a full complement, especially of part-time staff. Most of our frontline staff are part-time, and so we depend on them quite a bit. And then we do have department directors who are full-time, both at our branch and across our association, hundreds of employees and volunteers who make our Y tick each day.
Oh my gosh, I would think so. And even as you say it, now I'm going to kind of go down the path of so many people are having a challenge with hiring and keeping positions filled. Are you having that same kind of experience, or where are you on that spectrum?
We are not immune to those challenges, and we're experiencing it now as we speak in terms of we have to really staff up over the summer. We have our largest program in terms of what we do association-wide is summer camp, and so we need counselors, coordinators, camp directors, and so we are experiencing those challenges too, and we've had to do some really targeted marketing. We've had to do some sign-on bonuses and some incentives, much like the other organizations have. But if anyone listening knows someone who is interested in employment, the Y is definitely hiring. So whether it's Englewood or one of our other branches, contact your local Y, because we're pushing really hard right now to make sure that we are staffed up for what we expect will be a full summer of camps this summer.
Well, and Paul, what I want to say to that end, when you think of the kind of impact that you are having in all of these different areas, what a bonus, what a perk for saying, I work for the YMCA. And there's a sense of pride that goes with that. And whether you're a volunteer or a paid employee, there's certainly pride that goes with that. And I will encourage those who are seeking employment to come to you, and those who are seeking volunteer opportunities to come to you, because the vast nature of everything that you're doing is just absolutely astounding. So good for you. Good for you. Any final comment? We're down to about 1 more minute in our segment here. Is there any final closing comments that you'd like to make before we conclude?
I just want to thank everybody for listening, and thank everybody who donates today, whether it's to the Y or another nonprofit, and just make sure that everyone knows that the dollars you give will stay local to the Englewood community. They'll go to strengthen families and children in our community here, and we really covet your gift, and I thank you for the time.
Oh my gosh, well said, Paul. So thank you so much. I know that Marie's going to come back on in just a moment, but we've got a transition to make with, we've got the Lemon Bay Conservancy coming up next, and Ava Ferner is going to be our guest. I don't see her standing behind you. May I ask that you go out to the Lemon Bay Conservancy table and ask her to clean your earbuds first, because that's part of our protocol here today. But see if Ava's ready to come on, and I'll just continue talking to our audience while you're making that transition, okay?
Sure will. Thanks, Joanne.
Fantastic. Paul, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure today.
Bye.
Fantastic. Thank you. I will take a moment. Oh, I will, if I may, Marie, while we're making the transition. Paul's going to go get Ava. And I would like to share with the group, or with our audience and our listeners, that I am the owner of Vision Quest Leadership, and part of that business includes a nonprofit builders division. And that is why I'm here today, because I have been very much involved with founding and establishing the Nonprofit Leaders Collaborative. And it's where we bring these nonprofit leaders together for networking and to share their challenges and to have different learning segments, where we're making many nonprofits across Southwest Florida stronger and more effective in fulfilling their missions. And so, Marie, I just want to say thanks to you for enabling me to be here today to support the nonprofits in our area, because the work that every single one of them do is absolutely amazing. So thank you, Marie, for enabling me to be here today. I'm just going to bounce out and see if we've got Ava set up for our next segment, and I'll be right back. Okay?
All right, all right. Okay, and I'm going to bring up Rick Johnstone with me right now, too, while they're making this transition. Rick, how are you doing there?
What was I doing? I ran outside for a quick run around and throw a little water out. That's where I was. Did you miss me? I'm sorry. I'm going to be heading down to the radio station pretty soon to get ready for the event taking place at Common Grounds this evening. Put up some tables and get it ready for people the volunteers to come on down and have a place to talk to people. Okay.
Any of the back feed was coming out of my computer because it comes out of your computer into my computer. Sit down 1 second, RJ. While we're doing a transition right now, RJ is in the room. This is where he's sitting in Joe Luke's seat.
I put on cologne too.
Yeah, I'm going to actually put it so we can actually see him. You guys don't need to see me. Okay, like this. Oh, no, you still can't see him. Oh, there he is. There he is. RJ, I just wanted to let you know the food truck got a hold of me, and I did send you a message. Rick, you're in the background, too, so in case you want to pop in there. And the food truck will be here between 4:30 and 5. It'll be getting set up. It's a Dank Af food truck. Looks like they have great food. They came highly recommended. They have about 2,500 followers on Facebook, so that must be the one, right? I was actually recommended. RJ, before we turn it back over to Joanne Kaminsky, who are you? And why did you start this nonprofit?
Oh boy, we don't want to talk about that. That too many drinks ago.
Yeah.
Too much alcohol has flown under the gullet.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about where you started back in 2012 and where we are today and with an all-volunteer nonprofit.
Oh, it's like night and day. We got 72 volunteers, 46 of them are show hosts. We run 24/7 program, fully automated station. We're nailing them good on government grants and things like that. So
thanks to this man, I'll tell you, with COVID and that, RJ here learned how to do the grant writing for a lot of the businesses in the area and nonprofits, and he was able to get them that, what is it called, PPE money?
EIDL money. We stayed away from the PPP program. That was too much fraud going on with that, so we avoided that. But between Ed Davis and I think we were well over $300,000 in grants for local businesses through our Chamber of Commerce. If you're not a member of the Chamber of Commerce in Northport, you need to be.
And actually, we're coming from the Englewood Chamber, but Doug's off.
Well, look, and you should be a member of all the chambers because this is where the networking gets done. This is where the heavy lifting gets done. If you're not a chamber member, you're not in the business flow of what's going on. And we see that all the time here. You know, when the Northport Chamber comes in, they do a show every Friday. Right? He brings a chamber member in, and they spend 20 minutes, 25 minutes talking about their product. And they all walk away better, and then just the support that you get from the chambers.
Absolutely, and I know, Joanne, we're going to bring you up on the screen right now, and I'll keep you muted before we do this so we don't get back feed from me. It's from me, actually. Yes, he's waving there. But as we're talking here, Joanne is actually member, I think, of 3 or 4 chambers, and that's the reason she did, and for networking purposes and to get part of the communities. That's where you become a community, and us as a community radio station, Community Broadband Radio Association, is our 501c3. That's why we do it. We bring the community together and we give them a voice, and as you can see, we can stream, so we not only give you a voice on the air like a podcast, but it's better, and then we also get to stream out there to all these social medias.
Well, I looked at the IP addresses this afternoon just before I came here, and we've got about 17,000 IP addresses active right now on the internet. Feed. So there's quite a few people. And the work that Joanne's doing at the Chamber, think about that. Here she is putting her time in, and she's bringing nonprofits into this where they can sell themselves. Where else are they going to get this? Unless you're a member of a chamber. Right, Joanne?
Yeah, and I'm going to unmute you and mute me. Go ahead, Joanne.
Well, it is absolutely true. Thank you. I appreciate comments from both of you because the nonprofit communities are so important down here in Southwest Florida. And so it's truly an honor for me to work with them. And I was so happy that we did start the Nonprofit Leaders Collaborative here in Englewood. And the nonprofits that you're seeing here today are representative of that group. So with that said, Marie, if we're ready, we're going to bring up the Lemon Bay Conservancy as our next nonprofit. And we've got Ava Ferner, who's going to join us to talk to us about what's going on at the Lemon Bay Conservancy. Hello, Ava. How are you?
Hey, great, Joanne. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and I'll just make mention that we know you are not Paul with the Englewood YMCA as the bar says underneath you, but I know Marie's going to change that momentarily. Ava, I have to tell you, I love the work that any conservancy does in the area because I think it's vital to what happens in our environment. But I'd like you to explain to the listeners and the audience about what you are doing because not everybody understands the work of a conservancy. Can you help them understand what you're doing that way?
Sure. We actually have been in place for 51 years now, and we own properties around the Lemon Bay and Englewood area that we maintain in an environmental state. And we help owners if they want to look at donating their property or maybe getting it acquired by the state to keep it in a normal environmental state, or sometimes we buy it ourselves. And all of those things are what we call a land trust or a conservancy function. But we also get involved in other activities like environmental education and water quality initiatives and a variety of environmental projects.
Well, and Ava, help our audience understand why it's so important to preserve this land in its natural state. So tell us about the benefits of that.
Yeah. When you look at what's drawing people to our community, it's the beauty of the habitats that they can go see and the quality of the water that are so important to many of the people that choose to move here. And animals and all of the plants that are part of our native habitats are really disappearing at a rapid rate. So to have areas that we permanently protect and wildlife corridors for the animals to move from place to place and protect them so that we don't lose these important pieces of our natural environment are really things that we're focused on.
Well, and I know that the animals and the habitats are so important to what happens down the road, because if you lose this type of a animal, that animal was having some different type of impact on the environment that we no longer have. Can you speak to a couple of examples that way? Because I think those stories are fascinating when I hear them from different conservancies. Do you have an example or two that you can share that way?
Well, one example would be gopher tortoises. We have gopher tortoises on our Lemon Creek Wildflower Preserve property. And the gopher tortoise burrow actually can serve as the home for up to 500 other animals. So it's kind of amazing that this one nondescript kind of tortoise can have such a big impact on all of the other animals living in an environment. And
well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Right. They really like sandy, high habitats, and of course, those are the kind of habitats that people want to develop. So it's really essential that groups are banding together to try and protect those tortoises.
Well, And Ava, I know because I'm looking at my notes here, and I know that you are the project director on that restored Lemon Creek wildlife or wildflower preserve. So
Right.
yeah, talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned the gopher tortoises, and you know a lot of people would be like, well, "What do I care about gopher tortoises?" And you just told us why. And
Yeah.
so, talk to us about your project.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, the preserve is about 80 acres, and one of the interesting things about it was a golf course from 1971 to 2006. And then the owners shut down the golf course and they were trying to sell it to become a condo development. So the neighbors banded together and said, hey, we don't want more condos where we used to have a golf course. And they kept trying to sell it. There was a group from Miami that was going to get involved. The neighbors protested to our county commissioners. Eventually, the market actually collapsed about the same time for real estate. So the Conservancy was able to step in and buy that property. And since that time, we've gotten the Southwest Florida Water Management District involved and NOAA at the national level, and they have donated money. So we've done a $2.1 million restoration project on that old golf course.
Gosh, that's fantastic.
One of the reasons that those groups were really interested in it is because there are old golf course ponds on the property that collect stormwater from the neighboring communities. And that stormwater eventually flows out into Lemon Bay. So they wanted to help us create new areas in the preserve that will filter that stormwater so that we don't have excess nutrients going out and damaging the water quality in the bay. So that's a big piece of what we did.
Yeah, well, and there's, go ahead, yep.
Right. Oh, we also have put in, as part of that, about 80,000 wetland plants and more than 8,000 native trees and shrubs. So we're seeing a really good progress with the water quality and also seeing lots of new animals coming back as we got rid of all the Brazilian pepper that had grown in and put these native plants back in place.
Oh, I love the reversal, the feel of the reversing the effects there. I think that that's wonderful. Let me just, because our time's about up here, we did cut into your time a little bit, but let me just ask before we conclude here, because you talk about the 2-point-something million dollar project. Tell me about your funding. In fact, Marie's going to bring up and show us some of the contributions that you've been getting in here today for the Giving Challenge. But tell me about raising funds for this work that you're doing.
Yeah, other than special funds like those grants that we got from the agencies, everything else comes in from individual donors and community funds. So we very much need people's contributions. We have an interesting thing here with the Giving Challenge because not only do we have the one-to-one match that the Patterson Foundation is doing, but we have an anonymous donor who's offered up to $25,000 to also match donations.
Oh,
so
my
people
God.
who come in give $25 to $100. It's a double match, once from the Patterson Foundation and once from our donor. And if they want to give more than $100, our donor will continue to match it. So it's a great opportunity for us.
Because a lot of those have caps on them. And
Right,
so
and
and this one does not?
Until we get to 25,000, and as you can probably see there, we're not close yet. So
We're
we really
not, but what I'm thinking is that, because I know on another one of these informational slides that Marie shared, somebody gave $500, and in your program, that would actually be $1,500. Is that right?
Well, it would actually become 1,000 because our donor will match that 500 and the 500, and then there'll be another $100, the first 100 that's matched by
the first 100. I'm sorry, you're right. Okay, so I don't want to miscalculate that and misrepresent it. And there's a 250. Did I see a 250 at the bottom there, down there? Yeah. So, and who is that by? Let's give them a shout out. Steve and Mary Smith Fund. So.
Yeah. That's
thanks.
terrific. Yeah.
Yes, it is indeed. So, well, I love the positive environmental impact that any and all conservancies are making. particularly being that we're in this area, the Lemon Bay Conservancy. And so please reach out and give generously to these causes. At the bottom of the screen there, you see the scrolling informational bar, and it says that you have to go to givingchallenge.org and look up the Lemon Bay Conservancy in order to click on the button and have that match come up for any donation that you provide. So Ava, thank you so much for being a part of our interview process here today. Any final comments before we conclude?
Yeah, there's just one other thing I'd like to really quickly mention. That we're doing juvenile tarpon research with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Association, or not association, FWC, in the creek that's part of Lemon Creek Wildflower Preserve. So tarpon habitat is another example of habitat we need to protect. They need mangrove areas, and we more than triple the mangrove areas in the creek as part of our project. And we're doing lots of other things for water quality. They can come to our website, lemonbayconservancy.org, and learn more. We have a lot to offer, and we really appreciate everybody's help.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our program today. Thanks again to the Englewood Chamber for bringing everybody together. And I will come out and do the transition. Our next group up is Whitney Stone from the Hermitage Artist Retreat. So, Marie, I'm going to go get that set up. And I'll be right back.
Okay, and Joanne, St. David's Jubilee Center, and let's hope I'm not muted here. Actually, I'm going to bring it up on the screen so people can see this if you're watching on social media. St. David's Jubilee Center of Englewood, Florida, and I want to do a shout out to you. Thank you so much for broadcasting. It's so interesting to hear about each of these nonprofit home missions and how they are lifting our community higher. Now, when many of these nonprofits, actually the nonprofits are part of the Giving Challenge, and I'm going to bring up Rick Johnstone right now with me, and I have to, Rick, you're taking yourself down, huh? Hi there, Rick, and you're probably muted. Hi, Rick.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good. So we're talking about all this stuff that's going on. Are you learning a lot? Because you normally don't tech with me when I'm doing some of these different things. Are you learning a lot about all of these nonprofits?
Oh, yeah. We used to go to just to name one, the Ears down in Englewood, the Englewood Animal place, to the old location. We used to go there all the time when we were looking for, new cats and things like that. So yes, and there's the people that everybody reach out and touch, the 6 degrees of separation theory. I mean, we are all connected, and it's wonderful to see the people coming together on a day like today, although, it'd be nice to do this every day, to make things happen for everybody.
I don't know if people could handle it every day, getting asked all the time to do things with the telethons. Because we have the opportunity here, the way that we're doing it, and we're streaming, and we're able to be on air. And like RJ said, we have 17,000 listeners right now on the radio, and that's worldwide, people. It's not just here. IP addresses is through computers, and that's the only way we're not able to track it on air, and our reach isn't that far anyhow on the air. But on the internet, we're all over, and on social media, we're all over the place. So if you're tuning in right now, either social media or on the radio or that, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your precious day and time to actually listen to this and find out about your community, find out about all these different wonderful. I'm not even talking just about the organization, because without people, you don't have an organization. So a lot of these people most of them are volunteers. Right, Rick?
That's right. Volunteers up and down the coast.
Absolutely. So we're going to and you guys to hear. And Rick, I'll be seeing you in a little bit, and you got my message about I have the paperwork. Okay.
I want the paperwork. It's all about the paperwork.
It is.
Day. And I am so excited to be bringing Whitney Stone to you. And, Whitney, I hope you don't mind what I'm about to mention, because, I look at this about the artist retreat, and you are the picture of an artist with the artistry in your hair. We talked about this when I met Whitney earlier today, and I think her hair is a work of art in terms of how well it's been done and the colors in it and everything. So thank you for representing that artistic expression for today's program.
Absolutely. I do actually come from an artistic background, and I have moved to the administrative side of things, and I'm so pleased to be here representing the Hermitage today.
Excellent. And so, so how, you said you were relatively really new, if I'm not mistaken, to this group. Is that right?
I am. So the Hermitage is in a very exciting period of growth right now. We were 7 full-time staff members before myself. I am the 8th, and I joined the team about 7 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a whirlwind. I am the grants coordinator, and so it's my responsibility to write to private and public foundations to ask for the funds to help artists create art. We are the only major arts organization in Sarasota and the surrounding Gulf Coast region exclusively committed to the creation and development of new work across all artistic disciplines. So it's a really unique thing that we're doing in Manasota Key.
And so, yes, I mean, that's exciting. Going from 7 to 8. I mean, it's an organization with legs, is what I want to say.
Oh, indeed. In fact, in the next few months, we'll be expanding to a staff of 11. We have job postings up right now. Go check them out.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's good. I appreciate that you're saying that, because if anybody's interested, they should go to your website. What's your website address?
Our website is www.hermitageartistretreat.org.
And that is artists with an S. Is that right? Artists?
No, it's just our artist.
Yes. Okay. You know what? Somewhere along the way, Whitney, I made that mistake when I typed it, and now I still don't have it right in my head. So
no problem.
That's good. Okay. So that's important. So Whitney, tell us a little bit more then, if you were to say, here's our mission. So because you're growing, you're making an impact. And so what's the mission of the nonprofit?
Absolutely. So our mission is to inspire and foster the most influential and culturally consequential art and artists of our time. We pride ourselves on being a microcosm of our diverse nation. Our artists come to us from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, gender identities, races, ethnicities. And what's wonderful about our campus, we can host 5 to 6 artists at one time, and it's cross-disciplinary. So in any given week, we can have a playwright in residence with a composer and a painter, and they all get to commune on our ecologically sensitive 9-acre beachfront and bayfront campus, where they can glean inspiration from their environment and from one another. And it's truly a special place. And one of the things that we do both on our beachfront campus and at our partner organizations, some more centrally located in Sarasota, is we give free community programs. These artists pay nothing to come be in residence with us. What we do ask them to give back to our community are glimpses into their creative process. So our Sarasota County, our community gets to see works in process from Pulitzer Prize winners Tony, Oscar, Grammy, Emmy Award winners and nominees, poets laureate, MacArthur Genius Fellows. The list goes on. And so it's a really unique experience that we give back to the community, and our artists get as much inspiration from our audiences as they do from them.
Wow, Whitney, I mean, I can see this, and thank you, Marie, for putting the picture up there, because we can see that this is a very special place. But I want to ask you a tough question for a general view, because we talk about all this artistic expression. Do the connection for those who don't understand why this artistic expression is so important for society and our culture and our world today. So how would you say to those who maybe don't quite understand that artistic connection and that artistic impact about why their donations are important for supporting this work that you're doing?
Absolutely. I'm going to give a two-part answer to that question.
Okay.
The first is that artists of all diverse backgrounds who are creating new work now are creating it in direct response to the political and social climate.
Oh, very good.
Yes, indeed. They are writing not only about what's happening in the world now, but about the future that they want to see for our world. And so, the work being created now, that's what's moving us forward and creating and shaping our cultural landscape. And then the other thing that I will say is no one funds the true beginning. When people say, "Oh, I was there at the beginning," referring to they saw a first reading or a first workshop or even the opening off Broadway. That's not the beginning. The beginning happened a good 10 years before, when that person was putting pen to paper. And so what the Hermitage Artist Retreat is doing is providing time and space for artists of all disciplines to create freely. We're funding that period of time, the writing time. And so this is all happening, and our community gets to see these pieces long before they go on to theaters and concert halls and museums around the world. So it's really special.
Well, there's a couple things that come to mind here. And first of all, I'll say Marie has brought up this list of all these donations that have been coming in today thus far. So we're very excited about that. And I feel like, it demonstrates people's understanding of your explanations. Your explanations were just wonderful. So thank you for sharing that. And the other thing so we're going to give some shout outs to these people as Marie is going down through this list for us. But I also wanted to mention is that what comes to mind is I just went to the Van Gogh exhibit up in Sarasota.
I've been looking to go to that.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And when you first entered it, there was all this explanation of Van Gogh's early life and the trials and the tribulations that he had his entire life. But when you talked about how it shapes the things to come, that's exactly where my head went, because I just went through that experience, which was absolutely incredible. And so thank you. Yeah. So thank you for your explanation on that. But let's look at this list here that Marie has up, and let's give some shout outs.
How exciting. I can't, it's very small type on my screen.
Oh dear, that's what everybody, there, she just blew it up for you.
Okay,
Is that
there
better?
we go. Yes, recent donors, Daniel Denton, thank you so much. Wendy Peck. Oh my goodness, so many people. Thomas and Debbie Moore, thank you, $100. So I want to tell everybody that if you donate to the Hermitage in this 24-hour period, your first $100 will be matched by the Patterson Foundation. And then also the estate of our dearly departed trustee, Susan Brainerd, is matching dollar for dollar. So if you give us $100, it magically becomes $300. Today is the day to give to the Hermitage. My gosh, who else? Ann and Rick Schlesser.
Yes,
Annette and Ed
yes.
Eliasberg, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Charles Perret, Charlotte, there
Oh
you
my
are.
gosh, look at that.
Linda
Oh my,
Mansberger, she worked in grants for us. I've seen her name all over my
oh
email
my
inbox.
gosh, look at
Oh my
that.
gosh, thank you all so much. You know, Gigi and
Tracy
Ben
and Bill, what
Huberman.
an interesting $334.
I know. What an
Yes,
interesting amount. I wonder if there's significance behind that.
there probably is. So, but look, oh my gosh,
Oh,
look at
thank
these.
you. Alicia and Pavel, thank you. Wow.
Oh, and
What
there's
up?
another
Oxygen, thank you so
$1,000.
much.
Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, we're overwhelmed. You know, the support has truly been inspirational for us. And like I said, we're in such a period of exciting growth right now. And just we couldn't do it without you. Oh, Jane, she's one of our volunteers. Thank you, Jane.
Let's just because we're really about down to the end of our time, but go ahead and read Andy's comment here, if you would,
Yes.
please.
So from our artistic director and CEO, Andy Sandberg, he says, I am incredibly proud to be leading this extraordinary and vital arts organization. Thank you to the estate of Susan Brainerd, CFSC, and the Patterson Foundation for making this match to the Hermitage possible. And thank you all for supporting.
Yay! Very good. Well, Whitney, thank you so much. I am so glad that you gave us great insight into the vital work that's being done, not just today at the retreat, but really for our future. And so that was a wonderful, wonderful explanation for everybody. So
excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
so much.
Joanne. Thanks for this. This was fun.
I gotta unmute myself. Before she leaves, Joanne, we have to make it a point to go to the Hermitage because they have all these events. And I keep on saying, I've lived here 34 years. I have never gone there. I've gone by there. I've had Andy on the show. I've had people. And it's such a beautiful location. And it's so historical because one of my shows is about the history and how that Hermitage was actually saved to become the artist retreat that it is today. Thank you so much, Whitney, and I love your hair. And Andy Sandberg, actually, I saw the pictures with Gavin Krill. I know him, and I didn't know that he was there, so I need to pay more attention. I really do.
That's good.
Indeed, yes.
While you're doing your transition, Joanne, I'm going to take us off. CJ's coming up with one of the nonprofits there, so while we're doing the transition. Thank you.
Thanks, Whitney.
Hello again. This is CJ Metcalf coming from the Military Heritage Museum and the wonderful day of the Giving Challenge. This is an opportunity for everyone. You can stop by the museum. We've got 10 or more nonprofits set up here, and you can come and talk to them about what they're doing, what their mission is, and see how you align yourself with them to see if that's who you would like to donate to. Keep in mind today that your $100 donation to these charities turns into $200. It is matched by the Patterson Foundation, which I'm sure you've heard a dozen times today. But I have the privilege of sitting here with the Virginia B. Andes clinic people, and I'm going to bring on Karen and have her talk to you a little bit about what the clinic is about and their mission and what they do. Karen, hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Well, Virginia B. Andes has been the saving grace for people in this county since 2000. We are a free clinic and pharmacy for people who cannot afford health care or who fall between the cracks. During the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. They weren't able to go to the doctor or have care. So if they came to the Virginia B. Andes Clinic, they got free care and their medications are included free of charge. So it is a godsend for not just the individual, but also for their family, because if somebody can't afford to go to work, they can't feed their family and they can't support themselves. So that's what we do for the area. Today, we have been blessed to be able to be here at this amazing event. Thank you so much to Gary and Al and everyone here at the Military Heritage Museum. It's been a phenomenal day. By the way, the hot dogs outside were to die for. So if you haven't tried the truck, you please do. United Way and everyone else that's here, it's just been a great opportunity for us to get to know each other better. We all have good missions. We all have causes that we represent. So to be able to work together towards those missions has been a blessing for all of us today. But we've also been giving out COVID vaccines. First shot, second shot, or boosters. And because of a federal grant, anyone who gets their shot, first, second, or booster, also gets a $50 Walmart gift card.
Wow.
So we've given about 25 to 30 shots already today, and we'll probably have another 20 before the day is over. So we want to thank everybody that is supporting us. And just like everyone else here, go on to the Giving Challenge. Every dollar you donate from 25 to 100 is matched. So if you donate 100, you've really given us 200. And we could not keep our doors open if it were not for our donors. We are run by a very small staff, mostly volunteers, and an exceptional board of directors who really support us. So we want to thank everybody for what they do. And actually, I'm going to put her on the spot. Miss Noreen Chervinsky, our director of operations, happens to be standing right here. And she has been at VBA longer than anybody. Miss Noreen?
I have. Maybe not longer than everybody, but thank you so much. Yes, I have been with Virginia B. Andy's clinic. I absolutely love the place. I have watched us grow from a very small pharmacy back in 2000 with Dr. Tom Ferreira, who was our founder at that point. And he came and had an idea, a dream, that he wanted to be able to have a pharmacy and, yes, someday a clinic too. So we grew and grew, and look where we are now. It is amazing. What we do and how we help the people of Charlotte County is just beyond anybody's wildest imagination. It would bring tears to your eyes to come and see the people we help. And I think that's what keeps us all going. Don't you think so?
I do.
Well, I know that they do absolutely fabulous work, and I know of people that have gone to Virginia B. Andy's clinic and have received much needed help that they wouldn't have otherwise have gotten. I'm so grateful to the clinic for what they offer to our community. So if you like the Virginia B. Andy's clinic and want to align yourself with them, go to thegivingchallenge.org and look for Virginia B. Andy's Clinic and donate. Hi, Marie. How are you?
I'm doing really well, CJ, and I'm going to take you off now. I have the Englewood Chamber coming back on with Joanne Kaminsky over there with her next guest. And if you want to bring in somebody in a bit, just let me know. Just text me. Thank you. Bye-bye, CJ. And we're back to Joanne, and she's back over in England.
Yes, and now let me say that we are actually with Ruth Hill from the St. David's Jubilee Center. And I think I threw you off on your scheduling there a little bit, Marie. And so it was my mistake. I got ahead of my own schedule. And so Ruth Hill is with us from the St. David's Jubilee Center. Welcome, Ruth. We're thrilled to have you here today. Okay, so hold on just a minute because, she's got you muted. She has you muted. And so there we go. She's got that taken care of. And if she can unmute you, then we can carry on with our conversation. So hold on just a second. And I do just want to make mention that this has been an exciting day here at the Englewood Chamber. And so it has been filled with energy and activity and all of these different nonprofits representing all the things that they're doing. Their missions are so amazing, and it is truly an honor to be here working with everybody today. So, Marie, let me check in.
Yeah, Ruth has to unmute on her end. It's on her end. It's on her computer. I can't unmute her.
Happened because we're on the same one that we've been using. Maria, I'm going to have to go look at her computer. So if you want to take over for just a minute or two, let me see what happened, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, here we are, Ruth. Thank goodness. Yay!
Wonderful.
Just a small technical
That's
challenge
okay.
there that Ruth fixed for us. So thank you very much for that. Okay, well, I am excited to bring on Ruth Hill from St. David's Jubilee Center. And oh my gosh, I just met Ruth, I 3 weeks ago, a month ago, something like that. And
Yeah.
ever since I've met her, all I do is hear about the St. Jubilee Center or St. David's Jubilee Center. So Ruth, we want to understand what it is that you're doing at the center. So tell us a little bit about your mission, and then we'll get into some of the other events and activities that you're doing along the way, okay?
Wonderful, thank you. The Jubilee Center was founded in 2011 by Pat Knox. And it was started out just with Foursquare Church, and she moved it over to St. David's. Since then, we have taken over the former pastor's house, and it has really grown. Our mission is we serve anyone in the Englewood community who is in need. They don't have any, there's no limit on income requirements. It's just they just have to be an Englewood resident. We take homeless or campers that we refer to them as. They don't have ID. We're just like fine. So we serve anybody, whether they live in, regardless if they live in Sarasota or Charlotte counties. So in 2021, we had over 2,900 client visits. We served over 5,500 adults and 1,600 children.
So
That's
Ruth,
quite a bit.
when you're saying you serve them, give us an idea of what that means. What kinds of things are you serving them?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we open Monday through Wednesday from 10 until noon. It's a volunteer run, and basically it's a food pantry.
Okay,
and we also
yeah.
on Tuesdays from 10 until noon, we have a free clothes closet. So the majority of our clients are aware that they can come in on Tuesdays for the clothing. And so they come for both the clothing and the food. So it's a double blessing for them.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yes, we give away toiletries, food, non-perishables, um, toilet paper, paper towels, dog food, cat food.
Oh
We
my
give away
gosh.
refurbished bikes, sleeping bags, tarps.
Well,
Bug-
and yes, what you can see here is Marie's actually pulled up your Giving Challenge page here. And so we got to see the building. Here is
yes,
your
absolutely.
signage. Yes. Why
Yes.
don't you speak to this a little bit as she's
Okay, so
scrolling
we're
through this?
located at 401 South Broadway, right behind Bell's Outlet.
Okay.
It's a ministry of St. David's Episcopal Church. And the building next to us is where our clothes closets held. People can come in. We have over 35 volunteers who donate over 270 hours a year.
Oh my
We could
God.
not do what we do without our volunteers. We are so blessed.
Well,
Um,
and Ruth, when I think of food pantries, this is how it feels to me, is it's a really work intensive effort. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And we saw a big shift from when the pandemic hit. We were doing everything outside curbside. And so that was very taxing on not only volunteers, but sanitizing, masks, and everything. And then we just recently opened up, and we are so blessed because we are only to be established because of all our donors. And I can see online, thank you to Cindy Fredericks, Joe and Mary Kay Henson Family Foundation, Kay Pace,
Oh, the
Kiwanis.
Kiwanis.
Yes, absolutely. Englewood, Kay Pace Kiwanis as well. Our generous volunteers have donated as well. Sally Stevenson, Barb Jacobson, Joe Backus, parishioners of St. David's, Eric Sandus, a wonderful individual donor, Alice Anastasi. We could not do what we do without the support of the community, the individuals, the organizations, the clubs, and we're
Oh,
just
well,
so
there's Kay from the coalition who's here with us today as well. So,
absolutely Karen Blackford.
yes.
Yeah, Expertech, Auto Care, Auto Repair. We're so blessed. Thank you so much for all these wonderful donations.
Well, and so we were talking about the work intensive nature of food pantries. And the other piece of it, I think, is because the people that you are serving, there is a reliance on your making it so that they don't go hungry. Do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So what we try to do is provide education, especially for these families with children, because we also not only do food, but we also do financial assistance for FPL and water as well. But we try to provide education. If you come and use your food pantries, that helps offset your costs and monies to be able to go to your utilities, to your rent. Utilize the food pantries that we're here for. We have meat, fresh produce, whatever their needs are, baby diapers, wipes, formula. So once they get to know us and come and see us, we're just a loving, caring. We know them by the first name basis, and we generally love them.
Oh, well, I have to tell you, Ruth, it is amazing how you serve the people of Englewood. I think for so many people, and maybe I'm speaking from my own perspective, but because I've not lived in that situation, it's very hard to understand it. But oh my gosh, if I were in that situation, it is giving from the heart that we do to make life palatable and better for these individuals that you're serving.
Absolutely. We don't ever want to turn anybody away. And what I try to get across to them is, who knows if I may be in your shoes someday, and I would want somebody to meet me with respect, non-judgmental and loving and caring.
Oh my gosh. And those are critical, non-judgmental, loving, caring. You're absolutely right. Go on. I think you were going to say something else to that end.
Well, and kindness. And once they learn to trust us, a lot of people have lost the trust. And once we show them that, then they come, and then we learn more about them and who they are and how their stories have evolved and where they end up, how they end up. We have people now living out of their cars because of the economy.
Yes. Well, Ruth, you have really presented a very meaningful segment for us here today, very heartfelt. And so thank you for everything that you are doing at St. David's Jubilee Center. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to our paths crossing in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Giving Challenge, the Patterson Foundation, for doubling up to $100. Thank you. And thank you for the radio station 97.5 for having this opportunity. And thank
Absolutely.
you, Jan.
Thank you. And please go to the givingchallenge.org and look up the St. David's Jubilee Center and give generously to this very heartfelt need. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Marie, it's been a fascinating day. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that we have Linda
Lusk. Yeah, Linda Lusk is in the room, and I will be bringing her up, and she's coming from Punta Gorda. So this will no transition going on here. So
right.
Hello there.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Well, I am thrilled to have you here. I first encountered Karen McElhaney from CARE through various chamber functions and through my Nonprofit Leaders Collaborative. And Linda, it's a pleasure to have you here today to talk about all of the amazing things that this CARE organization is doing, because it is such a need in many communities, local communities. And so I don't know, tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get involved with the organization? And then we'll go into talking about the organization itself.
No problem. I am currently the Chief Advancement Officer. So I'm the Development Officer. I work with our donors and working with stewardship and promoting legacy gifts and that type of thing. I actually joined the board of CARE in the mid-90s when I moved to Punta Gorda.
Oh my,
and I ultimately became the board chair, which I did for about 8 or 9 years, ran a few CARE balls. And I was looking into some things to increase our unrestricted funds so that we could have free access money to serve the needs of our survivors, things that grants didn't cover. So I was looking into donations, legacy gifts, and so on. And the board hired me to do that when I retired from my professional career. So that's what I've been doing. And I love it. I'm very invested in the organization. I feel very proud of the work we've done. We're going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary next year.
Oh my gosh. Well, kudos to you for your long-term commitment to this organization. And so let's talk about the organization. I mean, that's just amazing. And how you had sort of a vision of things you could do to help the organization be even better than it already is, and how you put that into place. So, wow. Thank you for that, Linda. Yes. Yeah, you should. You absolutely should. So tell us, what is CARE? So some of our listeners and our audience members don't know what CARE is about. So yes, here, Marie, thank you for bringing up the picture on their website, and give us that overview of what CARE's mission is.
Center for Abuse and Rape Emergencies. We are the Victim Services Center that is certified for the county, Charlotte County. Now, we started as a rape crisis center, and that started with a deputy from the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office who was working with a young woman who had been raped, and he was trying to get her some assistance. And, back at this time in the 80s, for a gentleman to be doing this was pretty far-reaching for that.
Yes.
A woman's feminist issue. And he was really upset with the family that she came from because they basically said she was not doing what she needed to do. She blew her curfew, so too bad, she got what she deserved. And he was appalled. So he worked with some of the movers and shakers in Punta Gorda, some women who were well-connected and activists, and they began the Rape Crisis Center and formed a group of volunteers. And back in the day, before we had voicemail, we had answering services.
Yes.
And an emergency number. People would call that number who needed help, and whoever was on call, the call would go to that person's home, and they would actually make the call from their homes to help victims. When there was some success for those individuals, victims of domestic violence started calling. And so at that time, it became apparent it would be a good idea to expand from Rape Crisis Center to helping victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and rape. So that's how we became a what we call a dual center, a full service center. And we also help people who are victims of other violent crimes. We help with victim of crime compensation, and it could be families who experience DUI crashes where someone is severely injured or killed, murders, serious robberies, burglaries, those kind of things. So we are very well connected with the sheriff's office in Charlotte County, the Punta Gorda Police Department, and we also work with the state attorney's office in the 20th Circuit.
The nature of the situations that you're dealing with is very deep, is how it feels to me. And I'm sure, do you understand that statement when I say that? Like it's
so these are very complicated situations.
Oh my, yes, crisis.
Right, absolutely crisis. There are not a lot of volunteer jobs in our community or jobs for individuals where part of what an advocate does is the first thing you do is assess lethality of a situation and have it threatened. Did it include a weapon, and how frequently, and all of those. This is not easy, light work. And people have incredible traumas that they're dealing with. And sadly, very many people have a tendency to blow it off. When I go out to speak, I tell people, here's the question you do not want to ask me, and that's, why doesn't she just leave? Because when that happens, when a person just leaves and no safety plan is in place, that is when the news stories that come up, the suicide murders, all of those, that's what happens.
Right. Well, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You have to have a plan. So we deal with families and individuals who are in crisis who come into safe shelter. We also deal what we call hospital response, and we have advocates who go out and work with rape victims and domestic violence victims in the hospital and help them understand what's happening. And in the state of Florida, you have 90 days to decide if you wish to report a rape to the authorities. Well, if you decide that well into the 90 days, but you didn't go to the hospital, you didn't have a forensic exam, there may be no evidence of the assault. Forensic exam. And it's invasive after you just had this trauma. So the advocates can help the individual understand what's happening, be there to inform them, comfort them, and hold their hand through this process.
Well, I feel like your staff and your volunteer individuals are very special people because of the difficulties of what, and I'm not saying other nonprofits don't have difficulties, but there's this violent nature about what you're dealing with. And so kudos to your staff and your volunteers for everything that they're doing. Now, our time is running short, but I want to just comment on a couple things, if I may, because I don't know if you saw when Marie was scrolling through your page there, I think the donations were well over $6,000, and lots of shout outs to people for what they're doing here today for the Giving Challenge. Did you see that?
I did. I know it's wonderful. I mean, it's really an amazing opportunity for us to get the word out and for people to support us. And many of these folks, their names have supported us for many, many years as individuals and their businesses in supporting as sponsors of the Care Ball. We really are very fortunate to have a great donor base. And, many times the individuals that are supporting us, there's something in their family past or their past that may have prompted that interest, and
Yes.
those are very, very personal stories, and sometimes people share that, and it's very, very powerful. When I go out and speak, it's not unusual for someone to raise their hand and tell me, 10 years ago, you helped me. 12 years ago, you helped my mother. And we're doing really well now. And so that is a really wonderful feeling. And it helps us know that the education and prevention work that we're doing in addition to the crisis work is helping victims and survivors.
Absolutely. Oh, there's Karen McElhaney. I don't know if you saw her name on there for her donation. So thank you, Karen. Thank you so much, Karen.
Several former board members, current board members. We have a whole host of individuals. And I'm proud to say I know most of those individuals too. So we really have some of the most incredible donors who support us and support our work.
Well, Linda, I'm so glad you're here today. You really, when you talk about what it was like in the 80s and where we are today with this effort, it's just a totally different story. And so I think it speaks to the progressive nature of where we are in today's society. So thank you very much for that. And then the last thing I'll say is that, again, go to givingchallenge.org, look up CARE, Center for Abuse and Rape Emergencies, and contribute generously to this because of all it's a huge impact what you are doing for those who are in these dire circumstances. So Linda,
we appreciate the Patterson Foundation, the Community Foundation of Sarasota for putting all of this together and for the opportunity to speak here on the radio show. Let me just say, tomorrow is Denim Day. Wear denim. The reason you wear denim is in the 90s, the High Italian Court overturned a rape conviction for a man who raped a 14-year-old. And the reason it was overturned was because the judge said her jeans were very tight, and for her to be raped, that probably meant she had to consent. And so activists began, on the day that decision was made, to wear denim. So wear denim tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, what a statement. What a statement.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
That's amazing. And I'm going to say, I have to mute you guys when I talk, but I have to say, Linda Lusk, I've known you for a long, long time. And when I was scrolling through all the donors to you, I think I know 3/4 of those people. And when I'm looking at it, and for so many people to be supporting what you do, and I know that you work with human trafficking now. You just had that going on, and we had Sea Love Freedom on today, and they'll be here this evening. But I know where you started, and I know how the whole history went with it, and where you are at today. Amazing the work that you have done and have provided to the communities and to victims over the years.
Staff that is really, really focused on dealing with the individuals and the trauma that they're facing, and that situation doesn't define their lives, it just makes them stronger.
Oh, good. What a nice wrap up, Linda. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Well, I think that we have one more guest who should be in the queue here, and that is our Englewood Community Care Clinic. And yes, there is Dr. Raymond James. How are you, Dr. James?
I'm great. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here. I was able to talk to some of your board members who are here at the Englewood Chamber, certainly, showcasing your nonprofit. And I cannot say enough about the good things they mentioned about you, from when you started the nonprofit and the type of doctor that you are. Now, I don't know if you'll talk about that yourself, but they talked about your demeanor and your kindness and your understanding. And my gosh, it's a privilege to talk to you, Dr. James.
Well, thanks, Joanne. I appreciate all those kind words. And I can tell you that really it's from the heart that all of us are doing our best to give back to the community. And my experience, as you may know, is that of an emergency medicine specialist. I work in the emergency department for the last 25 years, and primarily in Fawcett Hospital, Englewood Hospital, and in this community. And raising my children in this community, seeing folks come through the ER that just didn't have access to quality health care.
Right.
Hardworking folks, moms that were working 2 jobs and keeping the kids going at home, but couldn't afford health care. And as you know, the healthcare costs have risen and risen and risen. And it finally got to the point that in the emergency department, we saw that the average ER bill for someone coming to the ER for care for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or what other urgent need was oftentimes an average of about $1,800. It's a huge burden, and that's not the way to deliver quality care, trying to take care of folks in a busy, chaotic environment like the ER.
Right.
And so we began to look at ways that we could deliver care to the hardworking folks in the community, and recognizing that Englewood has about 25% of the community is uninsured or underinsured. And so we said, well, how do we help these people? And what can we do for these people? And that led to then the discussions of looking at other communities and what they had done. Port Charlotte, for example, and Dr. Klein and Dr. Asperilla at Virginia B. Andy's clinic.
Yes.
We said, that's a great template. How do we do that in Englewood? And that's what we did. We circled the wagons, and we contacted folks in the community that we thought were like-minded and felt a civic duty and wanted to give back. And we got together doctors and nurses and volunteers and put together a group about 13, 14 years ago and wrote a not-for-profit. My wife and I worked on this together to get it started. And that's how the clinic began. And it's been a labor of love to give back to the community.
Well, Dr. James, I love that background story because, yes, the Virginia B. Andy's facility is an amazing facility, and you didn't recreate anything. You multiplied the goodness that was already established, and you brought it to Englewood. And I mean, what a giving spirit is what I'll say. And so thank you for that. Oh, and so speaking of giving spirits, Marie's going to bring up your page with the challenge for the giving challenge today. And let me just remind people to oh my gosh, look at an anonymous donation there for $3,000.
Wow, fantastic.
Yes, that is fantastic. But when you go to givingchallenge.org, please make sure that you look for the Englewood Community Care Clinic and give accordingly. Now, I'm just looking at, look at this. You've raised over $4,000 so far. Look, I'm so happy about that. That's really good. Really good. And so talk to us, if you will, about those donations that do come in. How do you tell us that process for how do you fund the clinic?
So we've got a very lean organization. And one of the things we focused on was when I first started this, I actually had been working with Dr. Alan Grunning, who started Christian Health Ministries. And the operating budget for Christian Health Ministries was $0.
Okay.
We ran it on donated sample medications from doctors' offices. We held it in churches that already had paid the bills for power and light and wanted to outreach into the community. And so this program of Englewood Community Care Clinic was something that I took to the next step because I found that by doing the Christian Health Ministries, I was only seeing people once or twice a month. And I thought, really, folks should be seen hopefully within the same week or the next week if I start them on new medication.
Yes.
And so we said, let's do this on a shoestring budget. And so we basically brought on Beth Harrison as a part-time executive director and brought on Liz Rigney as a part-time nursing director. And everybody else works for free. We work under the statute volunteer healthcare providers for the state that gives us sovereign immunity. And it's a chance for us as physicians and nurses and healthcare providers and volunteers in the community to tell folks, look, you know what, you mow our lawns, you paint our houses, you take care of our kids, you do all these folks are doing all these difficult jobs in our community, but don't have access to affordable health care. And so we get to tell them, come to the clinic, let us fill the void. You know, if you're planning on getting insurance next year, let's get you through. Let's take care of what you need right now. And we know we can't solve all the problems, but you know what? We can put our finger in the hole and stop the water flowing so much and handle the immediate needs that these folks have. And as you might guess, most of them are so appreciative. Some come back to volunteer when they get back on their feet. Some come bring us a check to donate once they get their situation improved or are able to afford health care. And it's been a rewarding experience to help serve Englewood.
Well, and so you talked about starting on a shoestring, but I know you have a facility today. I know that, you know, your operations are a lot different today than they were back when you started. And so if you were to have an ask today, what would the ask be for what funding would help you in what way? And I don't know if you have something specific like that, but what would that ask be for the care clinic?
So it's a combination of things. I would tell you that it's been really challenging through COVID, trying to manage folks while still keeping our staff safe and trying to keep our patients safe and not allowing cross exposure. And so having to purchase personal protective equipment, having to change our processes has really been a big strain. We offer labs actually on site. We have 2 small pieces of equipment that allow us to do immediate labs. And we'd like to continue to grow the practice. We'd like to expand some of our dental offerings and also expand the number of providers we have there. And we're really fortunate that Charlotte County charges us the big rate of $1 a year to provide the free services. They're very interested in keeping us taking care of folks and really are very supportive and appreciative of all that we do. But absolutely, we're very proud of how far we make each and every dollar go in order to help take care of our patients, whether it's maintaining a diabetic on insulin and helping them find and purchase that medication when needed if they don't have the resources, or plugging them into a national support system through some of the programs that the drug manufacturers have, or whether it's helping to diagnose someone that has symptoms of a cancer and making sure we help them get plugged into the treatment they need through Moffitt and other care programs. And
my gosh. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So the needs, you say, is there one need? I would say there's not one need. There are a lot of needs because we are literally filling the void with that 25% of the population that just can't afford health care.
Right. So yes, and so what I'm hearing is that you're not only providing the care, but you're also extending it to other resources that people wouldn't necessarily know about.
Right.
And so when I talk about what would your ask be, I mean, you do need to have the insulin for those who need those shots, or, and those all of those things cost money. And so please, I will ask our listeners and our audience to give generously to the Englewood Community Care Clinic. I encourage you to go onto their website and take a look at the work that you're doing. I've been on the website myself, Dr. James, and I felt like it told a great story. There was great understanding of the impact that you're making. So what is that website address just to look at the work that you're doing?
Yes, Englewood, englewoodclinic.org.
Englewoodclinic.org. Okay.
Right. So when you go to that site, you'll see at englewoodclinic.org, there's an opportunity to get involved, to volunteer, as well as to donate. And, it's interesting because a lot of folks say to me, boy, we're so busy at the office, we're so busy at the hospital. But I'll tell you, every doctor, every nurse, every volunteer that has made the time to come walks away and they feel like, you know what, these folks so appreciate the time I gave this evening. I could have been home with family, but here I am tonight from 5 to 8 in the evening on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm giving back and I feel so good about it. I can see the difference I'm making. and it keeps us coming back. I mean, I work for free, but the more financial assistance we get, the more donations we get, the
Yes.
farther I can reach to help others.
Well, Dr. James, I'll say extremely well said. We'll check with Marie to see if we can get a copy of this video so you can put it on your website, because I could feel that heartfelt plea for people to come and volunteer, and it
We're
makes
passionate.
people want to. Yes, I can tell.
Yeah.
But don't go to the website to give. Go to givingchallenge.org.
There you
And
go.
look up the Englewood Community Care Clinic and check on that, and then give your donation generously, because these Giving Challenge donations are matched up to $100.
It's fantastic.
Yes,
Yes.
it is fantastic. So, Dr. James, go ahead. Yes.
So I
Final
want to say
comments.
thank you to Joanne, and thank you to the Community Challenge of Sarasota, and to the Patterson Foundation. This is a fantastic program, a chance for folks to increase the impact they have in supporting their community organizations.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you were a part of it with us today. So thank you for that. Yes.
My honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Here we are, Marie.
Joanne, it has been what a remarkable day, huh? And I'm taking an hour and a half break right now, and we're going to go off, and we're coming back on at 6:30. But meanwhile, I have to run outside. We're going off air for our listeners, our viewers, and that. We will be coming back on at 6:30, and it's going to be more of an exciting evening, because we're going to have John Rawlings. He'll be outside with all the nonprofits and the bee and the food truck, and then on inside in Common Grounds at 7 o'clock we'll have music coming on. So we'll kick it off at 6:30. Joanne, what a pleasure to have had you today, and for you to have been on site as our reporter on site and helping all these nonprofits.
Well, Marie, it is a privilege to work with each and every one of these nonprofits, because it just, oh my gosh, their impact is so widespread. And so I want to thank you profusely for giving me the opportunity to do this. I can't even, the experience is so intrinsic. It's not about, I've been here and I've been doing this for 3 hours. And I mean, I haven't even had a break, and I don't even feel like I needed one, because I'm so energized by the good that surrounds us in this type of an environment. So thank you for the opportunity to do this, Marie.
Thank you to Joanne, and thank you to our audience. It's been a privilege for you to take the time out of your busy day to actually come and join us virtually, audio, however you came in to listen to us or to interact. And just to I want to do one more shout out, because there are people that like us and love us, and I can see that. When I'm checking on the streaming end, I can see who's doing that. And I want to do a shout out. Oh, my husband, Sheldon LaBrosse. Hello. He's out. And Amber Kraft, Jeannie Joyce, Englewood Chamber, Doug, I always say his name wrong, Izzo. Peter, Eric Benson, William English. And I just want to do another shout out and a question. When I was looking at the donations that were done over at the Englewood Chamber, there was somebody, a company that was giving money, two different people that I noticed that were giving money to everybody. And I just wanted to let everybody know, if you do that, it's still getting matched for that organization. And one of them was the repair shop. I'm trying to think of what the name was. And then also the other person was Steve, and I know him. I saw his name. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kathleen Callahan is the owner of X-Protect Auto Repair. She is a chamber member. And I will also mention that I saw Brian Farrow's name on there several times, and he is he is the past president of the chamber. Kathleen is the current president of the chamber. And so to see these individuals supporting every single nonprofit, particularly, I think Kathleen's been on all of those. That is a giving spirit, is what that is.
I have to agree, Joanne. And the thing is we do have choices in life to make. And one of them is to be kind or not to be kind. And I always wear Be Kind shirts when I'm on the radio and when I'm out in public. Take the time out of your day to be kind. If you do nothing else, just be kind. And if you do have the opportunity, if you have the means, because there's a lot of people out there may not have the means, if you can just give $25 to any of these nonprofits that you care about, and just remember, we're the Community Broadband Radio Association here when you go to look it up, and think about when the impact that you make is. It's run by mainly volunteers, most of the nonprofits. So when you do give, it's time, talents, or treasure. And if you don't want to do the money part, give a volunteer. Find a passion and volunteer.
Right. Absolutely. And I think, well, again, and the other thing I'll say about volunteers, this is for the nonprofits, the better organized you can be with your volunteer groups, the more impact they will make. And so come to the table with that leadership component that enables you to maximize your volunteer groups. I recommend all nonprofits have a volunteer committee that helps to manage that aspect of their nonprofit.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we're going to do a shout out in about an hour and a half back on streaming. Thank you, Joanne, and to all our listening audience. Thank you so much. And I have to run up, Joanne. I'm going to take you off mute and let you talk.
Marie, I know you said you were going to take me off mute and let me talk about something, but I don't know what you said after that.
So just go ahead and finish the show.
Okay, thank you. Well, all right. What an amazing privilege. This has been an outstanding opportunity to hear about all the things that people are doing here in the Englewood community. But the fact is that this is happening in Southwest Florida. It is happening in, the state of Florida. The nonprofit needs extend nationwide. And so please know that every dollar that you give is something that makes an impact for another person that may not have the capabilities and the wherewithal and all of the things that you enjoy in your own life. And so please dig deep into your pockets and give what you can today because of the matching capability. That just doubles, and in some cases triples what's going on.
Absolutely. And with that, we're off air right now, and I'm going to end this broadcast on streaming. See you guys again in an hour and a half. Bye-bye. Thank you, Joanne.
It's a wrap.